You are watching the Vodka stream.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
What is happening, everybody? Hey, the Vodka Stream Lounge is open. I mean, you can't see the open sign, but it's open. That's an open sign right there, just to let you know. What is happening, guys? Whoop. What is going on here? Those damn Giants. They're winning? No, they're not. What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing? It's Friday, thank God, right? Even though, I can't even remember what day anything is anymore. You know, this past month, just being off work. But I start my new job next Monday, so I'll be jumping back into that. I actually have, if you actually watched my last video that I posted, you could probably have seen a monitor off to the side, off to the right, because I had to get a little side desk and get a couple of monitors set up for the jab, the new jab, what's going, so I had to do all that. So yeah. Anyways, guys, how you guys doing? Who's out there? Let's talk to me. Crown Royal tonight? Well, that's good, Alex. Good choice. It's a good choice. Haven't had Crown Royal in a while. Definitely haven't. King of the live stream. That's what I was striving for. Totally striving for that. What's going on, Bradley? Yeah. Junkee XL. What about Junkee XL? What's going on? And then we got Mama Film Junkie here. Hi, Mom. Love you. She's here and everything. So, yeah, Jason, yeah. Everything's good, man. Everything's really good. What's going on, Mr. Morris? We got Eric. What's going on, Sco? Miss Stewart, how you doing? Alakzu. Yes, hashtag restore the Snyderverse. Yeah. Seriously, go Dodgers. Whatever. Yeah, they'll probably win it again. Who knows? We got Mr. McClellan. What's up, sir? Bennett, how you doing? General significance. Like your name. Definitely like your name. Hey, Jessica. How's it going? Oh, yeah, you became a celebrity today. Jessica right here. Yeah. I mean, apparently she was having a little bit of issues with Vero. I think, what was it, yesterday, today, remember something like that? And Zack Snyder reached out and kind of was like, hey, sorry about that. And gave her a little plug, hey, here's Jessica, introduction, because you could do that in Vero. So she's like the new celebrity when it comes to the Snyder fandom right there. So congratulations, Jessica. Welcome. I mean, it's crazy. The Vero world is crazy. I always forget that I should post more things on there. What's going on, Scully? Got Kathy. Hi, Kathy. Got Ryan. Hi, Ross. How's it going, Ross? And we got Amar here. Been a crazy week. Definitely been a crazy week. Got a lot to talk about. That's for damn sure. Lot to talk about. And again, they have not released the Snyder Cut numbers. Why? Who knows? We don't know yet. What's going on, Imfer? How you doing? Scoot, you're pissed. The numbers. Well, I know. Oh, yeah. Wasn't there didn't somebody scoop that again? I thought I heard somebody scoop that. Somebody fucking got out, got their little scoop out and tried to hey, guess what? The numbers are coming out today. And then guess what? Didn't happen. That's why you got to be wary of these scoops. I get it. Sometimes it happens, but sometimes they don't. Just saying, there's a lot of information out there that is misinformation. That's the thing. I mean, Trevante Road. So we got to go back to that one. Oh man, so many things. But there's other things too, though. Man. Yeah. So what's going on, Anthony? Exclusive. Yeah, I know there's a lot of things. I mean, of course we could. I mean, if you guys watched my last video, I kind of talked briefly, about the Green Lantern concept art, but it's just as much as I want to, I mean, who knows what's going to happen today, but it's just like, hey, I want to talk more about it, but I don't know. It wasn't, it's basically just.
Fuck me, right?
Yeah, that's a new drop right there. I'm just saying. I don't know when I'll be using that, but yeah, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. What's going on, Mike G? How you doing? How you doing, bud? I was having major issues with Vero and Zach. Yep, that's what the man does. Like I said, I posted on Twitter my favorite superhero costumes are, Batflex, the black and silver Superman costume, Wonder Woman costume, and the white V-neck. That's also my favorite superhero costume because he's a fucking superhero. I tell you what. Isaiah, what's up? Too much pain. How you doing? So you guys are doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Let me go ahead and pour some more here of my delicious vodka. Oh, what's up? Yo, hey, everybody. Yeah, let's see. I've lost track on how many drops. I know. I have so many drops. I got to, rotate some or something like that. So it's good stuff. But look at that. Got the condensation on the bottle and everything. This thing has been in the freezer since yesterday, I want to say. So I got some vodka. Thought about getting some bourbon, some whiskey or something like that, but stuck with the vodka right now. So cheers, guys. Thank God it's Friday. Let's have some fun. Oh, I tell you what. Man, yeah, it's been pretty crazy. What's going on, Mr. Shaking? How you doing? Keep doing those magic tricks. That's all your little demonstration with the little ball in the cup thing. I don't know how you do that stuff, man. Hand quicker than the eyes, man. I've always been a fan of magic, that's for sure. Mr. Mike G, did Snyder really CGI over? Is that what they were trying to say, right? There was something about Leto's mustache. Did he have a mustache? I don't think he even had a mustache. I could have swore that he was clean shaven and he actually shaved the eyebrows again, I thought too. I don't think there was actually, no, I don't think there was CGI over the mustache. I really don't. Yeah, the fucking lockdowns. Back to lockdowns? Really? That's crazy because over here in California, they're slowly opening things back up. And I think it's because our, Governor Dusham is kind of worried that he's going to get recalled. I think that's why he was like, hey, we could start opening up some stuff here. Guys, please don't recall me, please. Yeah. I think that's what's the case over here, but who knows? Yeah, I don't think he didn't CGI. Yeah, there was no CGI. I remember there was a rumor. Yeah, he had no mustache. He was, because we saw he actually, he full on shaved his eyebrows. That's why I was like, no, he didn't do that. Don't believe, like I said, don't believe everything you hear, son, as Batfleck says. As Bruce says to Clark in Batman vs Superman, don't believe everything you hear. There's a lot of misinformation out there, which is sad. Sad that that's the case. And then it sucks too, because when you go, hold on, that's bullshit. And it's like, okay, cool, that is. So the people who put it out there should be like, hey, sorry we put that out there, That's all we ask. Like, hey, we shouldn't put that out there. No, they just go on to the next thing. It's like, come on. At least acknowledge that you put out some misinformation and stuff, That's the way it is right there, All right, so yeah, that's what you guys got to worry about. That's what you got to worry about when it comes to the information out there. It was just funny when there were still people that I saw that were believing Trevante Rhodes was John Stewart Green Lantern. I'm like, we literally now have a concept art with a different face. I mean, yeah, that's not the face right there. So no retractions, no nothing. Just go on to the next thing. Oh, we got that wrong. Go on to the next thing. Third wave. Is that what they're calling it? I thought they were calling it the fourth wave. I thought people on those news outlets were saying that it was like a fourth wave coming. Or is that going to be coming? Well, okay, so we got what do they call it? The first wave, the second. I mean, I'm like, the fourth wave is what? Where aliens abduct us and stick things up our butts. Fifth wave, what is that? Total invasion? I don't know. I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to approach it from a sci-fi, point of view. What's the next thing going to be? Yeah. So, But yeah. But anyways, cheers, guy. Oh yeah, Cavill. Yeah, Cavill. He wrapped up The Witcher. What was like 158 days? Holy crap, that's a lot. Toronto Reds is John Stewart. Hey, you know what? When it comes to Javante Rhodes, he was my number one choice. He was my number one choice. What I was thinking, I was thinking like, who would be my choices for Green Lantern? He was actually my number one choice. I know everybody kept on going Idris Elba. I'm like, nah, we need somebody younger. And Idris Elba, everybody always picks him for everything. As much as I love Idris Elba, trust me, I love the guy, and I can't wait to see him as Bloodsport and Suicide Squad. I'm just like, yeah, let's get somebody different, okay? And I always thought Javante Rhodes would have been a good choice. And you never know, he probably was on the table. That's the thing. Sometimes things just don't work out, and then you got to go, okay, well, what do I have? What can I do right now? And then all of a sudden, a star is born. Because you guys got to realize, when it comes to the Justice League cast that we have currently, okay, so when they were cast, okay, not casted, people stop saying that. Past tense of cast is cast. Sorry, that's just a little, I know I'm being a grammar Nazi about that. But anyways, when they were cast, when Momoa was cast, what did he say? I mean, he was like broke, essentially. People kind of knew who he was, but not really. Now, superstar. Now people know who Jason Momoa is. Gal Gadot, she was about to quit. Now, superstar. Do that. Yes, superstar. Ezra Miller, nobody knew who that was. Now people are starting to know who he is. He's in another franchise. There you go. Henry Cavill, superstar. All of a sudden, everybody knows whoever Henry Cavill is. Yeah, it almost seems like Zack Snyder knows who to cast, and Ray Fisher could very easily be the next superstar. And there are articles out there that even said that if it wasn't for Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers, he could have been the next superstar. And hopefully we can help that along. Okay? That's what's so great about it. So, yeah. You got to realize that he, like Ben Affleck, was the only established actor in the Justice League cast, that actually had a name for himself. So really got to think about that. But everybody else that he cast, they were just pretty much unknowns. So if there's going to be an unknown for John Stewart Green Lantern, guess what? Let that guy shine. Let him shine. That's what I love about. I mean, same with Ray Porter. Ray Porter is literally playing the big baddie, Darkseid. Okay, anybody know who Ray Porter was before? No. Now everybody knows who Ray Porter is now, and I mean, it's just crazy how somebody could just turn into a celebrity overnight. Okay, so when it's fully revealed who John Stewart Green Lantern is, then I mean that person, that guy is going to be parlayed into like, hey, wow, look at this guy. Just saying. Yes, we love Ray Fisher, and I'm telling you what, he should have been the next superstar to come out of that. So, just saying, man, just saying. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a name for these. That's. I mean, I understand when the studios go, hey, oh yeah, we need a name for this. Sometimes you don't. You just need a performance, really. Because I mean, obviously, when you look at the MCU, they had a different Thanos, but there was no voice or anything. It was just somebody turned around and smirked or smiled or whatever the hell, and then that person was replaced by Josh Brolin. And then, the studio wanted to have some kind of name. But, I mean, for the most part, it was whatever, because Josh Brolin he killed it. So, yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to have, like, a full-on name. I mean, like I said, Ray Porter, everybody's just raving about his performance in the movie. And they want more. And who knows what's going to happen after the whole New Gods thing. Sorry, I got to plug in my laptop here. Gravity. Not enough room on the pub table. All right, so got that plugged in. All right. Put that right there. All right. Oh, Mr. McKenzie, sir, what is up? Thank you, sir. Supporting the pirate ship. Thank you. Cheers to you, sir. Appreciate it, Jason. All right, let's get. It looks like my guests are backstage, so let's get them in here. Let me set my tweet up first, though. All right. Boop. All right, hold on a second, guys. Sorry, I'm freaking. Come on. What is up with Twitter? Why is Twitter being stupid right now? It's just being stupid. You know how it is. But yeah, we're going to have some fun tonight. I've been looking forward to talking to these guys for a bit because we connected on Twitter not too long ago. And I was like, you know what? I like these guys. These guys seem like they're cool. And I want to talk to them. Have joined the stream. So, whoop. Do I have the right? No, I do not. That's not the right one. Hold on. Sorry. Let me get the right one here. All right, here we go. All right, let's bring in the CapeCast guys right here. We got Mr. Brandon and we got Mr. Ryan. What is up, guys? How you doing?
How's it going, sir?
Ahoy,
Good.
ahoy.
There you go. Hey, nice greeting right there.
How's it going, man?
Every show.
Yeah. How you guys doing?
Doing great,
good,
man.
How are you?
Oh, it's Friday. Drinking? Why not? It's always a good time on Friday night.
Crack
What are you guys drinking? What are you drinking? What are you drinking, Ryan?
I've got a Terrapin Recreation Ale.
Wow.
It's a local brewery here in Athens. So we're just outside of. I'm just outside of Atlanta, and Brandon is outside of Athens in Georgia. So
gotcha. Yeah, that was my next question. Where are you guys from? So you guys from the East Coast. So it's a little late for you guys.
Yep.
that's all right.
Not too bad, though.
We got the Scott McClellan thing going.
Yeah.
Stay up.
Yeah.
Is your sleep schedule all messed up like mine is kind of like it's been for like the past 2 weeks? It's just been.
Dude, we stayed up for the
I saw your review.
Yeah, the premiere. And
yeah.
So Brandon's he's humble about it. Brandon's got a crazy, crazy nice home theater. Like he built his house for his home theater.
Nice.
Like that's how nice it is. So of course I go up there and we're going to watch it at his place. I got up there on Wednesday after work and we watched BVS Ultimate and then rolled right into the Kevin Smith thing. 30-minute power nap, 3 a.m.
It's right there.
Crushed it.
Thank you, Brightburn.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
That was something that I haven't done since college, so that was a little rough. Yeah,
a little bit rough, man. It was all. I mean,
a little long in my years here.
Yeah, that was a long day for me too because I did a Film Junkie live because I was on Wednesday, so I did it early, and then I was part of that charity stream. And then just right after that, I was like, all right, I'm going to watch the premiere stuff because, I was a part of that, which was pre-recorded. And then, of course, they had the whole technical difficulties thing, which was
right.
Like, it was like, of course. There's just
that was a marathon.
Yeah. I mean, even when I talked to Debbie, she was like, it was just meant to be that way. It was essentially just, there was just something that was, I mean, they literally had people that showed up days prior to make sure everything was going to be okay. And it just didn't work where they were going to be. Let's just get on our phones. I mean, it's just, what a crazy night. What a crazy night. But yeah, I didn't actually last
champ. I'll say that much.
Oh, dude, the way that he just handled like, oh yeah, we're going to keep going. And he just kept on just going and going and going. We're like that's why you have Kevin Smith do that. Because
he doesn't really have a problem talking. So
no, he does not
take care of that.
He does not. It helps that he is a talker, which that's why it was perfect for him to do that. But I didn't actually make it throughout the night because it was just a long day. I watched about an hour of it, and then I went, okay, I can't. I'm falling asleep, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up and just watched the rest of it. But I've already seen it like 4 times by that time.
You were a smart man. We so my wife came up with me to his place as well, and she comes knocking in on the theater door at 7 a.m. after a fresh night's sleep, and we look back, we're like zombies. she said I'll be honest, the first time that when I walked into the theater, I was kind of concerned that you guys hated it, but we were just so
tired.
Yeah
it was a lot.
So how many times have you watched it? First off, Brandon, what are you drinking? I don't think I asked you.
So I'm doing some Irish coffee. So
Nice.
since we're on East Coast time, didn't get too good of a sleep last night. So doing some.
You need a little bit of a boost too. Nice.
Some Maker's Mark and coffee. So
there you go. Sounds delicious. So how many times are you guys in, Brandon? How many times?
Oh man, not as much as Ryan. I think I'm in like maybe 9 times at this point.
Nice.
Kind of once I've been just kind of keeping the regular edition on like at work, but the Justice is Gray edition, I have been intently watching it at night, like when I go to bed. So I haven't really completed that one yet. I just been kind of doing it piecemeal, but so I can really appreciate it because it's a completely different experience, and I'm really enjoying that version. So
yeah, I mean that's the last 3 times I've watched it have been the Gray version. There's just something something unique about it. I mean, I have a video that hopefully will be coming out this weekend where I kind of talk about how it's just how unique. You have a Justice League movie that's in 4:3 aspect ratio and in black and white in 4 hours. Like you're not.
How did this happen? Yeah,
exactly. Snyder just went like, hold my beer. I'm going to show you something that you've never seen before. And when you watch that black and white version, I mean, I get it where people are hesitant because the way that his color palette is and the way he frames things, like sometimes things just jump. But I mean, there's just something so unique about that black and white version. It's just so indie, so just rawness to it, I guess.
And you can tell it puts so much work into it, the contrast work, and it's great. Some scenes you're just like you catch things that you didn't even catch in the regular colored version.
Exactly. How many watches are you in, Ryan?
So at 7 o'clock, I started my 14th.
Damn. No, I'm with Brandon. I'm 9 in, so I'll hit 10 this weekend. So, but 14, nice.
Yeah, I'm very aware that I have a problem, and my wife is telling me that I have a problem.
You could have worse problems.
That's true. I mean,
very true.
To be in love with the a 4-hour Justice movie, not that bad. Not that bad.
Right.
Way worse things.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you guys about the channel. So the channel is Cinema Machine. And so give me the backstory on what's going on here, because essentially CapeCast is part of Cinema Machine, I guess you could say, because there's it's just kind of like a network kind of thing, or what's going on?
Yeah. So we have a buddy named Al that we started this channel Cinema Machine basically to review movies, and he is more of the indie type guy than we are, and we're more of the blockbuster geek, comic book types. And so we basically created this channel, and then we created 3 shows. We've got Cinema Machine, where we review just movies in general. Al has his show Criterion Corner, where he reviews like indies and whatnot. And then Brandon and I created CapeCast because this is what we love talking about. So
yes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the story behind it.
How long has the channel been up?
When did we start?
I think.
Yeah, not long.
I think we started like a couple weeks before Fandom.
Nice.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we always talk about how, like, after I met Brandon kind of around the time that BVS came out. And so we've always bonded over Zach's movies, and then JL came out, and we always talk about how the day after we were both at work on our phones. We had this isn't an exaggeration. We had an 8-hour like kumbaya, everything's going to be okay phone call after
more of
Justice
an intervention.
I think a lot of us did. I mean, we were kind of convincing ourselves it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So we were basically just like, we've been telling ourselves we wanted to do something like this, where like we talk about these movies so much, like why don't we record it and try to build a community around it? So,
I mean, it's kind of like we basically just kind of looked at your channel and Squadcast. We've been listening to those guys for a long time, and other people in this community, and just we're like,
BBS by the minute.
We listen and watch this stuff all the time, and we find ourselves just like talking to our car stereos, like
Yeah.
we're like, in the same conversation, we're like, man, we talk about this stuff all the time. Why don't we just talk to each other about it and record it? Because we're going to do it anyway. So,
Right.
and I think that's the way a lot of people get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get asked that a lot, like in DMs, where, hey, I'm starting a YouTube channel. What do I do? I'm like, just turn on the camera, turn on the microphone, and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at what I was doing, 5 years ago compared to now, it's completely different. I was doing, especially when I first started, it was just, hey, I think I could do this.
Sure.
Let me do a lot of jump cutting and just talk really, 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 really fast and blah, blah, blah. And now I still talk really fast sometimes, depending on how much coffee I had before stream. But yeah, but there's no, it's all just, now it's all raw and it's already, there's no jump cutting. And then of course, this all kind of took off to a point where it's like, hey, everybody, let's just have a nice little discussion, relaxed discussion and stuff like that. So I always just tell people, just see what happens. And it seems like, I mean, like I said, when I found out about you guys and I started watching your stuff, I'm like, wow, these guys are cool. They seem cool. Oh my God. I mean, I'm watching them. I mean, they seem like guys that want to talk to and stuff like that. And then, we would, go back and forth on Twitter and stuff. So I was like, all right.
That's one of the things that's been really cool is, starting to get involved with the community that exists around these movies. And you guys talk about it all the time on the show, but that's what's great. Like, you just don't see this in other fandoms. That's what's so cool about it, so to actually be able to engage with folks, and super enjoyed it.
It's a pretty unique fandom. That's for damn sure. It's definitely a unique fandom. I mean, I've been through, since the beginning, pretty much, it seems like, been through the ups and downs and stuff like that. But so when it comes to reality life, what's reality life like, Brandon? What do you do? I see the guitars behind you. Are you a musician? What's going on?
He's like, these old things.
Those things right there. Yeah. Just for decoration, right?
I do play music. Not as much. I played I still play in the same band, but we played a lot more heavily when I was in college, but then life happened, family, kids, that kind of thing. And so it slowed down a little bit, but I'm a graphic designer by trade. That's how I met Ryan. Ryan and I worked at a company called Evo Shield. If you follow baseball, so you probably are aware of the company Evo Shield.
Yes.
So they were based in
the elbow guards and leg guards they wear. And we made those. They're custom molding leg guards, but
yeah. So that company was based in Athens. That's how Ryan and I met. And then they got bought by Wilson, and so they moved their headquarters to Chicago. So we got kicked out of the company, or fired, if you want to call it that.
It happens.
So I work for the University of Georgia. I do graphic design. It's not super exciting, but it's fun for what it is. It's a steady gig. So it allows me to do this.
That's all that matters. I mean, that's another thing too, is like, have your base income, and then it's like, you could do this, and maybe, eventually it could start pulling in some revenue, but it's not going to happen right away. I mean, people just think like you could just hit the ground running like that. It's like, no, that's not the way it's going to be. I mean, definitely not. But what do you do? What about you, Ryan? Real life stuff.
So I do a lot of the same stuff, design and marketing, do some photography, I have a company with a buddy.
I would have never guessed you were a photographer by the way that your camera is like perfectly
time to drink. Ryan and I told Ryan, I said, we're drinking every time somebody compliments your camera tonight.
I know, no. You always know somebody's a photographer by the way their camera is set up when it comes to a live stream. I'm like, yep. I'm like, hey, he deals in photography. I knew it.
It's so funny, man.
Stephen Colbert DM'd us like about Ryan's like specs for his camera.
Exactly. No, I get it. Like I started looking at my setup. I mean, mine's just of course just more relaxed. I want to get like the whole lounge area going on. So I'm not going to do that. But I mean, for other videos too, I'm like, man, I should probably do something a little bit better. I don't know. But I always kind of wonder about that too. Like, what kind of camera, what lens are you using? But no, but I mean, it totally. When I watched like some of your previous videos, I'm like, he's a photographer. He's got to be something. Because look at that shot. Look at how he's framed. I mean, come on, it just screams photography right there. So
Yeah, you should have seen the setup whenever he came to my house when we did our like initial reaction review in my theater. It was like you know, I
don't
just
mess
wouldn't
around.
get caught to set. So
Yeah.
so that, you know, Ryan had all his bank lights and we had like rim lighting and that kind of stuff. I was like, geez, I just got my one little light, you know.
It's like, no, we need more. We need something right. Yeah, that's right. So you do pretty much the same thing. So photography, anything else? That's pretty much it.
Yeah, so marketing and design, photography, that kind of thing, just a mishmash of that. I do all my work's essentially contract. So done a lot in sports over the years, so that kind of tends to be where my work lies these days.
So you guys Braves fans, or what's going on with baseball?
I'm a huge Braves fan. Brandon is an anti-sports fan.
Oh no.
I'm not anti-sports. I just don't care.
Okay,
Like,
because I remember last night I took a picture of like, oh yeah, baseball's back. You know, I'm a Giants fan. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, who's the? Because you guys, I don't know who operates the Twitter handle. And
we both do, but it's mostly Ryan.
Yeah. So then I was like, okay.
When he texted, or when he commented on that, I texted Ryan. I said, "Don't you speak for both of us now?" Because
keep that sports game stuff off the Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah, keep that. Yeah, the sports all game stuff. Yeah.
So who's your team?
My team's the Giants, San Francisco Giants. Okay. Yeah, that's
nice.
Me right there. I mean, it was funny because God, watched the first game last night. They're up 6-0 in like the fifth inning, and they lose like 7-6 or 8 I don't even know. They blow the lead. I don't know. It's like that's the Giants. Everybody, the Giants.
We had a rough first game too. So I feel you.
Yeah, I mean, there's 161 more of them, so I guess we're
that's right.
The whole season. That's the beauty part about baseball. But yeah, I mean, I've been a Giants fan not all my life. I was a Mariners fan when I was younger, big Ken Griffey Jr. fan.
Nice.
And and then it's funny too because my dad is a diehard Dodgers fan.
Oh boy.
And even my mom right here, who's in the chat, of course, is still saying go Dodgers. Hi, Mom. You know, she's a Dodgers / Angels fan, but yeah, so we grew up and he tried to get us to be like that. But my brother went to the Giants. Like he was like a full-on Giants fan. I was a Mariners fan. And then when the whole Ken Griffey Jr. thing like kind of fell off, I kind of was like, I'm not even really into baseball right now. For some reason, I just was not into baseball for like a good chunk. And then I guess you could say I'm almost a bandwagoner because then I started getting into the Giants when they were winning a lot, and I feel bad. But that was like 11 years ago. It was 11 years ago, and I've still stuck with them because they suck.
At this point, you're established. Yeah,
exactly.
You've gone through struggles. You're good.
Like last night, I redid my whole MLB package thing so I could watch their games, even though they suck right now. So even though I joined when they were winning, I am still sticking with them when they're losing.
I'm with you on the Griffey thing. One of my I've got his a Mariners jersey, Griffey jersey in my closet.
Nice. I have his Upper Deck rookie card like in a fucking case, like that Upper Deck one. That I mean, it's probably not worth as much now because baseball cards are like who knows what the hell's going on.
Baseball cards are about to take off, and
are they?
Yeah, like out of nowhere. They're very cyclical. Yeah.
Yeah, because for a minute there, it was just nobody cared about.
They died, dude. They died. Like,
I
was a huge collector.
I think it was on Netflix when they were talking about how that whole thing just tanked. Like cards that were worth like thousands and thousands are worth like barely hundreds or something like that, or like $50. But hey, if they're gonna take off again, jeez,
hold on to it, man. Hold on to it.
Hold on to that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Ryan's a flipper, so he would know. He just scours eBay every day looking for stuff to buy and sell. He's specifically a hot toy flipper right now.
I built an entire Hot Toys collection off flipping Hot Toys on eBay.
Nice.
So it's worth it.
See, there's still people saying Henry Cavill and the Suicide Squad trailer. So before we start really more diving into the for Zack Snyder Justice League, which we will, and we'll probably have the panel on for that. course, if you guys, whenever you guys need to leave, you can leave. No problem with there. But
Oh, we're good, man.
yeah. But when it comes to the Suicide Squad trailer, what do you guys think of? Well, I guess you could say both trailers now, because we had the Red Band one, which that's fine, and then all of a sudden the Green Band one comes, and I'm like, well,
why didn't we lead with it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen your reactions, and I think Ryan and I think we both fall in the same category there. We weren't really, we kind of had stock down in the first trailer, and then stock came up a little bit with the second one. So,
the whole like, I don't know. I think it's just James Gunn's like humor sensibility is not this. I don't know. It doesn't mesh with me or something all the time. Like,
I can see
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny because I like Slither, much like his first movie. I guess he directed, right? I like that movie, and then he had Super, which I like that too. I mean, but it was kind of, a lot of people are kind of, it's a slow, like, really small movie.
Right.
But then, when it came to Guardians of the Galaxy, I thought he nailed it pretty well, because it was like, I mean, when Marvel announced Guardians of the Galaxy, everybody was going, really? They're going to do that? I mean, why would you not want to just keep on doing like the bigger characters? And they're like, no, we're going to do Guardians. And he nailed it. But then the sequel came, and I went, okay, there's things I like, but man, too much with the fucking humor. Like, what the? I mean, it was just too much. It just got to be way too much. And I kind of can see that with Suicide Squad. It's like, okay, we're going to get like, is there going to be a bunch of dick jokes?
Reel it back a little bit.
Like, yeah. I mean, we essentially got 2 dick jokes in that Red Band trailer, and I was kind of going, okay. Hopefully, that's not the whole thing.
Yeah. The angel splooging joke at the end was just insult to injury. I was like, what are we doing here? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
People think it's funny. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me. It's just kind of lowbrow.
I'm surprised you got Margot Robbie to say that, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, when she says it, she's saying it like such. It almost seems like, is that going to actually be in the final film, where they might? I almost want to believe that was just specifically for the trailer, and it's not going to be, because it almost seems like that's just going a little too much, where she just blurts that out. I can understand the other one where it's talking about, eat a bag of dicks and then the whole island's full of dicks from Liberty. I can understand that because that's banter between the team, but it almost seems like the Harley Quinn angel splooging all over us. I'm like, that's probably not going to be in the final cut. Who knows? But I don't know.
I will say in the first trailer, I did enjoy the like Harley rescue mission, and she was already,
that was funny.
I thought that was cool. And then,
that part was cool, because that was very much like, everybody's going, okay, we got to rescue Harley, but she's so unpredictable, and you never know. She could get out of a tough situation because she is smart, even though she might act like a dunce and she's crazy. She's super smart, and that's what I kind of took from that little part right there. Was, oh, she knew exactly. And I think I mentioned it too, where I think on the last with the Green Band trailer, is we saw set photos where she essentially is attending a wedding or something, and we actually see her like approaching this party or wedding or whatever the hell in this dress before she's all kind of bleeding out and has a javelin. So something happens, like she is going to whatever this is. And then some shit happens, and that's what I'm very intrigued by that.
I'm convinced this movie is going to be nuts. No matter it could be nuts good, it could be nuts bad. Who knows? But it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, definitely is going to be nuts. But yeah, when the Green Band trailer came out, everybody was going, okay, that's a trailer right there. That's man. Right. I mean, I get it. They wanted to, do both. And I think even James Gunn said, I think he said today or yesterday, said that he wanted to have, there's obviously theatrical and trying to get people to go to the theaters and everything. So maybe it was just like, hey, we wanted to have 2 versions of the trailer. Cool. It wasn't just because sometimes when it's a Red Band trailer and a Green Band trailer, it's essentially the same trailer, but without all cussing or whatever. This was like 2 completely different trailers.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't anything. Yeah.
completely different tone for sure. And that tone just appeals to my sensibilities more, personally.
I agree.
So
yeah, I think for me, I mean, shoot, we're all Zack Snyder fans, so story is definitely, takes front seat for all of us. So I feel, just for me, like the second trailer was so much more like story focused than like just like one-liners and explosions of the red band. Like,
yeah, because you get a sense of some of the characters. I mean, you see Ratcatcher, like, you see her like, hey, there's rats around her. Look at that. And
Yeah.
kind of like a whole thing where it's almost like they're going like deep into some of the psyches of these characters. And I really hope that, we can have the one-liners and the explosions, all the craziness, but hey, let's dive deep into, some of the psyches of these characters. And like you said, I mean, that's what Snyder does. I mean, obviously that we just saw big time in a 4-hour epic,
Woo.
Yeah, man. When I tell you
14 big times for Ryan.
It's just so
and the stock's going up, guys, every time.
Oh yeah, it'll go up. I'll probably watch it 2 more times this weekend because I feel like I'm neglecting it. I have not watched it like really this week, and I'm like, am I neglecting this thing? Damn it! I feel like I feel bad.
Restore the Snyderverse,
I know, jeez. But when it comes to Zack Snyder's Justice League, I mean, first off, you guys, you mentioned how when you saw the theatrical, your reaction. I mean, you want to talk? We could talk about that a little bit more if you want.
Sure. Yeah. So the first thing I always mention with it, we saw it together, and Brandon is a huge Batman fan.
Good man.
And the Something's Definitely Bleeding scene.
Oh God.
I remember vividly looking over at him like in the movie, and I just could like see his face just die. Like it's like, what have you? And he loves, obviously, Batfleck's his favorite Batman, so it was just like pulling the rug out from under his feet.
Yeah, they did my boy super dirty in that movie. They did a lot of people dirty. Let's be honest, but
I think Cavill got it the worst, or Superman got it the worst, but Batman was a pretty close second. I almost thought, because like you said, when it came to that, I saw it. People know this, that where I saw a press screening on the Warner Brothers lot, and I remember just kind of, I think I made this face when he said Something's Definitely Bleeding. I went. I just kind of went like, okay, I could see how that could appeal to the general audience, but it is not working with me. And then when I saw it with my friends and the whole theater laughed, I went, shit.
Yeah, you just don't give.
Yeah,
you don't give Batman jokes like that. No. He can have like moments of levity, but you don't give him direct like, like let's give it like something. Something's definitely bleeding, or he is tall, or I didn't bring a sword, or whatever it's like, come on, let's not. Yeah. Give that to somebody else. You got to give it to somebody.
There's supposed to be like a dry sense of humor to him.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, that's why the "I'm rich" line works so well.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's it's within character, and it's funny, but it's not like outside the realm of what he would say, in my opinion.
I will say too that Something's Definitely Bleeding. It's so much more than the line too. Like it looks like he's like he can't get up because he's laying on his cape. Like his head's like being pulled down because his feet is on his cape, and his cape looks like a weighted blanket. Like,
and he's like, it's like he's like a turtle, like just like on his back. Yes. Like, I can't get up, kind of thing. It's like, what?
Yeah, well that image itself is just a visual representation of that movie in general.
That's true.
Quite
symbolic.
I mean, it is just, I've said it time and time again. It's like when you saw that opening scene with Superman and with the cell phone footage. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember just being so excited. Like, hey, it's finally here, Justice League, sweet. And then just that smile just faded when I went, oh my God, the rumors are true. Look at his face. Look at his face.
The nonsense of the line too. It was just like,
oh man, you just like, this is what I've been waiting for. And then it's funny too, because again, like I always compare it because I saw it for a press screen and then I saw it with friends in an actual theater setting. And one of my friends who was actually in the chat was, obviously, I mean, for some reason she's a Henry Cavill fan. I don't know why. Apparently the guy's kind of good looking. I don't know. But,
okay.
But she was worried about that. And I kind of warned her. I went, it might sting a little bit the first time you see him. And then it was funny because I was sitting right next to her and I felt her like face go like just cower like oh God. Right when that opening scene, I felt and I just kind of went, I did the whole like peripheral and then I looked at her, I'm like, I'm sorry, I told you. It was like, I was like, I don't, somebody prove that. You know,
so you're essentially the Flash in the Heroes Park scene.
Yes,
just,
pretty much. Yes, so I was like, I am so sorry because I just felt her her face just go, oh no, look what they did to him. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm the Superman fan of the pod. So yeah, I feel you and I feel her. Oh.
But I also try to be like, hey, because I remember I did a second kind of review and I went, you know what? Don't look at it as what it was supposed to be. Look at it as a DCAU, like an animated film wrapped in flesh.
Yeah.
Do that, and then maybe you'll have a good time with it.
What's funny is
kind of what we had to do.
Yeah.
We called each other after the movie, like when we got home, and we were like trying to like rationalize things, you know, like the cognitive dissonance stuff, like, and you know, this part was all right, but at the end of the conversation, it was just so unsatisfying. And then we had our 8-hour intervention the next day, and ever since then,
there it's been.
Really.
So when did you guys kind of like realize that there was like this whole movement, this whole fandom that was trying to get the Snyder Cut released?
The day after, wasn't there a petition the day after?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
I remember Ryan, that petition that went up on like change.org.
Yeah.
Ryan was like,
I was like,
they've got like 5,000 signatures. He just kept updating me every like 5 seconds, like how many signatures it had.
Like holding on to something, some nugget of
people out there know. They know.
It's it is just crazy thinking about that. Now with the movie out, like you're saying, a 4:3 black and white version of Justice League is out versus how I felt when I was doing that with Brandon.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy. Like I remember when that petition came out because it got sent to me. Hey, sign this. Okay, interesting. And then all of a sudden, when that kind of went sour, and then there was I mean, like we don't need to talk about how sour that went, but it did. It went a little sour. I was like, oh, wait a minute, shit, you're not supposed to go that direction. Hold on, man. It was like whoa, and then but then it was luckily people that were involved with it. Like stepped away and then reached out, and luckily we all kind of, it
felt like it connected people. And kind of got things.
It was a good stepping stone. And then even though like one of the people that did it just kind of went off the reservation, just a whole.
I remember looking. I was probably looking at like signature number updates, and then I like saw the updated description or whatever, and I was like, okay,
that's not the direction you want to go. That was kind of a shock. But then luckily people that were involved with it, the other people that were involved with it kind of went, all right, I'm going to go this direction, and then they reached out, and then it kind of just, man, it is pretty crazy how in retrospect, like thinking like 3.5 years later, how, where we're at now, we actually can talk about this thing. And now we're wanting more. It is pretty crazy how it's grown and
needing more. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely needing more. I mean,
it's like, I was telling Ryan this the other day. It's like I haven't even watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. I have no motivation to watch anything but this movie. Like nothing compares. It's like Sinead O'Connor. Like there's nothing. Right.
I feel you. I know it's kind of hard. Like when especially the week of, I went, oh shit, I didn't watch Superman and Lois. Oh my God, there's this and that. I'm like, I keep on going. I keep on reminding myself, hey, you gotta watch other shit. Even today, I went, oh God, there's a new Falcon and Winter Soldier came out. I better watch that real quick and do a quick review before and and I'm not, I totally lost, like when it came to Superman and Lois, I totally just fell off. And now I'm trying to catch up again. And because I'm just like, if I want to watch a Superman, I want to watch it in, this Justice League movie more than that, or something.
Yeah. I remember talking to Brandon. It was probably maybe a week after the movie came out, and I had seen a couple episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier by then.
Yeah,
and I was just like, man. And this isn't a knock on Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's a credit to how awesome Zack Snyder's Justice League is. But I was just like, everything I watch right now just feels so shallow. like have I ruined myself for movies?
Yeah, that damn Zack Snyder, man. He just,
I know.
Well, I think that's what was kind of part of it too when it came to the Suicide Squad Red Band trailer. It was kind of like, cool.
Yeah.
All right, that looks all right. You're having fun. But when I'm watching, when I remember when the Hallelujah trailer came out, and then the trailer after that, it was just kind of like, you feel that hype. So damn that Zack Snyder for running that.
I think a lot of it that week was just such like a bummer week with that Ann Sarnoff interview, and like it was just like I don't want to see anything else that they're putting out. Like I'm just like, and I was excited for the slate because it was like, everybody's gonna get something they want, and I want to see Suicide Squad. I mean, I like the first one for the most part, and I want to see what James Gunn does with this. And same thing for the Batman and Shazam 2 and all this stuff. So like we were still excited, but not to the same degree as of Snyder's stuff. And it's like it just kind of like sucked the wind out of my like motivation as far as just wanting to see something else. Yeah. When you feel like they're just like, we're gonna do something for everybody but you guys. And it's just kind of like.
And right after, everybody's taking a victory lap, like, and it's just cold water, like ice water on it.
Seriously.
Like the thing is, it's so sad, but like, if this saga is not continued, for me personally, every time that I watch Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, Margot Robbie in Suicide Squad movie, it's just got this like taint on it, I guess. Like I'm never like there's it's gonna take away some of my excitement for that movie just because if this does not get completed in some form or fashion, like that's a sad reality about it, in my opinion.
I know I totally agree with you with that. There's just something like even today, it's when you think about the future slate of stuff, and it's like, we're gonna get an Aquaman too. But even watching, I don't know if you guys have done this yet, but even watching, I watched Aquaman after watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I kind of went, it doesn't feel the same as it did before.
Interesting.
It really, I'm like going, okay, it's not quite the tone. I mean, it's a way lighter tone. It doesn't feel as connected as I thought it would. There's like things in there. I still enjoy the movie, and I think James Wan did some very excellent things with that movie. But there's things where I went, I don't know if that was that. Did you actually want to do that, James Wan? I don't know if you want to do that.
That's always been a question for me as well. It's like the tonal, like it feels. And I don't know. I just you hear things, so I'm just making assumptions more than anything. But it just a lot of that humor injection feels like a Jeff Johns type thing involvement. But I love the action and the sprawling like epicness of it. Like it's such a like mixed bag for me. But
the trench scene is gorgeous, and that's why I was kind of going, if he wants to do more with the trench, of course that's not happening now. I thought, well, that was the best kind of like sequence of the whole movie, in my opinion. And then even the end, when like the final battle and some of those shots, I went, my God, this movie is absolutely gorgeous, but there is a lot of injected like humor and stuff.
That's the one thing that gets me in that movie. I can't. I cannot take, and I hate it because I love all the animated films that come out, and this was like so close to Throne of Atlantis for me, which is one of my favorites. And like Orm, it feels like they're just ripped out of that and plopped on live action. Like obviously, Jason Momoa was phenomenal as Aquaman. Costume design was incredible. Action was incredible. But that you try to create stakes in a movie, and then you undercut the stakes with the type of poorly written humor, poorly written jokes, and I just I lose all of the feel for what they're I lose what they're trying to make me feel.
Exactly. You actually just nailed it right there, because it seems like they try to establish some stakes. Like, hey, these, Atlanteans and Orm, he's like sending a message like, we're going to send all the trash and all these ships like to the surface. And it was like, oh my God. And then all of a sudden it just kind of just turns into like this crazy conspiratorial, like you see the news broadcast where they're like, and it just lost like the feel of like, wait, this is like a fucking threat to humanity. And you guys kind of turn
the rose petal thing. I just like, I'm just like, come on, guys. Just what's fun? Like, what you guys are talking about with the directors? Like, name a DC project that has come out in the last 7 years, where the director after the fact hasn't said like, well, they meddled, or that wasn't my move. Like Birds of Prey, obviously Snyder's stuff, Patty Jenkins. Like, I mean, it doesn't stop. Like every director seems to have this kind of issue on a DC production.
I know that's the problem too. I mean, especially when if we were going to go back to Wonder Woman 84, which was fine, but man, I don't know if I could watch it now. I just don't know.
I couldn't watch it after I watched it.
I will probably get destroyed, but I could not do that movie, man.
The saving grace for that movie was that my 6-year-old liked it, and that was it. Like I could, like, because she liked it, I'm like, I'm glad she liked it. She likes Wonder Woman, but I just I can't.
Well, I mean, you see this movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and you see how the Amazons are treated in this movie.
That's correct.
And then like that's what I can see, kind of like your Aquaman situation where you go back and rewatch Wonder Woman 84 and you're like,
I almost don't want to. I'm like, I don't know if I can, because I remember back in November or whatever. I mean, I interviewed Connie Nielsen, and this is before I saw Wonder Woman 84, and I'm like, hey, I'm trying to be all hyped for it, not realizing she's in it for about, I don't know, 3 minutes.
Yeah. She's got a cameo. She's got a blink it and you'll miss it cameo, essentially. Yeah,
I'm like, I went, oh my God, I'm sitting there talking this way. I mean, obviously she has to play the part because she knows that how much she's in it or what. And I'm on, man, you're like barely in, and you don't do anything but just give a little bit of advice to young Diana, and that's it. I really thought that they were going to do more flashbacking in that movie where they go back to all that, and then now, when you see Zack Snyder, just like, wow, she did a shit ton in that movie. Yeah. She was badass in that movie.
Unheralded queen of of Zack Snyder's Justice League. Her performance, everything she does, dude, chills. Like, knocks it out of the park.
God, the battle cry.
I want to see more of that. Oh my gosh, yeah.
I know, and it's just, and then I was like, I was trying to get her back on the Vodka stream. Like, hey, let's talk more about this and that. Jeez. Because sadly, I mean, you were not used at all in Wonder Woman 84, sadly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, down to it's just so different. The action, everything's so physical. And the bank scene in this movie in Zack Snyder's Justice League compared to anything in Wonder Woman 84. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I know what they were trying to do. They're doing some lighthearted, very much 80s, like.
Sure.
And I get that. And that's fine. And, and it's funny too, because when it came to that highway sequence where, she starts doing her thing when they're on that highway, and I forgot exactly where they're at, and it was cool. And then all of a sudden it just ends with her tumbling with mannequin kids.
Yeah. Like glaringly obvious mannequin kids.
Oh my God.
That scene reminded me of like the Austin Powers scene where the security guards trying to get the steamroller to stop, and he just won't move out of the way. It's like, move out of the way. Yes. Just move out of the way. What are you doing?
I was like, you guys had it. You guys were doing some action stuff. She was kicking ass. Trucks are flipping up and down and everything. And then all of a sudden you end it with like these kids that are playing in the middle of a highway, and you don't see that these trucks are like barreling down.
Yeah, a whole convoy coming down the road.
Yeah.
We're fine.
They'll go around.
And then they're like, they'll just fucking there's nobody all in the other lane. They're just going to go around. And then she swoops in and then just like grabs him and then does this whole roll. And I'm going, those kids have brain damage now. What? How do they not?
Sounds like a spinoff.
Yes. See what happens.
Probably more interesting than that movie, unfortunately.
God, but I mean, that's just what's rough. And then when you see how she was handled here, and she was just she wasn't fucking around. I mean, that opening scene, oh, these terrorists want to die. So, well, I'll give them that. I'm going to throw their head against the wall. And, she wasn't caring. And then the last guy, she just totally just obliterated.
We were watching it. Brandon leans over. He's like, that's my Wonder Woman right there.
Yeah, that's what I said in my initial review. It's probably sacrilegious, but I love how Zach treats Amazonians and Diana in general. Mm-hmm. When compared to, I guess the most recent iteration with Wonder Woman 84, I just love this version so much more. But maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I get that she's not taking on like a god, a freaking god that just fell down from a boom tube, and she's taking on like human beings, so she doesn't need like her sword and her shield and everything like that. But at the same time,
it just lessens. It just makes it. It just like pads it so much. Like that whole movie is just like the safest cookie cutter, like no stakes. Like, I don't know. It's a pointless movie. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, I mean, it's not canon at all because there's no like they don't mention that. I mean, when she says like there's 2 times where she mentions Steve and she says one time I lost somebody one time. It's not twice. Lost them,
Right. Every time we watched it 5 times when Ryan was here, and every time we watched it and she said that line, Ryan leaned over 2 times.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's just like no like, hey, we're not even gonna that wasn't meant to happen. I mean, and the details of how they brought him back to, I was always had it like a little bit of like, why did you do it like that? That just
you got this all powerful.
I know that
thing.
Sorry,
just bring him back. If you're going to bring him back, just bring him back. Like,
does he have to take over somebody else's body? Which
is kind of creepy at the same time.
Yeah, like, very creepy. And good for that guy. I mean, he's he doesn't realize that he got essentially Well, let's just leave it at that. Yeah, he had a good week with that woman. That's for sure. Yeah,
I just don't understand the reasoning for even like just kind of putting that out. Like, why? Like, they can manifest all this other stuff. Why can't like they manifest a person? Like, I don't know. Like, why does it got to be somebody else's body?
If you're wishing something back, why doesn't just that happen? What's the reason for him to actually have to take over somebody else's body?
If you can manifest cows in the middle of the city. You can manifest Steve.
Yeah, but then at the most part, I liked Pedro Pascal's performance. I liked his performance. I thought it was okay. He played a good villain. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, but there's just a lot of things, and now I'm afraid to even go back to watch this, where I kind of go, oh man, after watching what she did in Zack Snyder, just
dude, that shot where she flies into the where all the kids are being held hostage. You get the like speed ramping stuff going on, but then she's got she does like the parry, like really quick bullet parry with her gauntlets. I was like, my wife's a huge Wonder Woman fan. I looked over at her. Her eyes are just like, she's so excited that she's seeing this again.
I know. I'm just kind of like, that's what, that's what people mainly want to see. They want to see the warrior. They want to see, as much as like, you can have like the full of hope and optimism, all that stuff like that. But you know what? When it comes down to some pieces of shit that want to blow they want to blow up a building full of kids. It's like,
for no reason at all.
Be like, you know what? Fuck these guys. And that's exactly what she did. That's what I love about it. When you see all that and then she just obliterates that guy at the end, I just love how she's all, everybody okay? It's okay. It's okay. It's like, that's part of the building.
Don't worry about the blood stains on the wall. It's fine.
Yeah, that's the great thing. Yes, exactly. Man.
She takes that moment at the end to like show compassion, and she's still, she still has that, but she's also, she's not gonna just like lasso them and like make them like change their mind. No. It's not the way the world works. So
it's a good contrast to like when she barges into, to the room right there. She's got that furrow in her brow like the whole time, and she's like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna save the day. And then when it's done, she has this uplifting look on her face, and she's going, hey, we're okay, hey princess, blah blah blah, and all of a sudden it's just like a completely different Diana that's going, okay, now I got to be the nurturer kind of style. And I thought that was a very great contrast. And the fact that they removed that from the original,
in a matter of minutes,
in a matter of minutes,
from amazing adrenaline pumping action with this character, same scene, the emotional range, to have kind of a tear up moment at the end of it with a little girl. It's just crazy.
And with that score, the score too, man. Oh my god! I mean, and when Junkee was on here, and
I gotta say, your Junkee episode was phenomenal. That was hilarious.
I appreciate that. I mean, when it all worked out, I went, oh my god, I'm gonna have this guy. And I'm like, what's and I watched his videos, and I'm like, okay, he's a very outgoing dude. I'm like, I hope that this just and it went so well talking to that guy. I mean, I can't wait to have him back. But he was just such a delight, such an absolute delight. But when I asked him about, hey, what would you add to that Wonder Woman school, that theme, and he just went, you know what? I just wanted to make it feel ancient and she's a warrior. Let's make it feel, and the little additives to the whole, just with the the singing of the. I can't even do it. I'm not even trying to do it. Come on, let me just try to do it. No, just the little added things that he. I mean, when you first see her, when she's standing when she's on the statue and it pans down and you hear the wailing of the song, and it's just like, oh my! The first time I watched it, I immediately I got choked up and goosebumps at the same time. Deadly combination.
I know that feeling.
That's probably my favorite score moment in that. Well, besides the Flash moment, but when his score kicks in, when the terrorist group is starting to go up the stairs, and it's got that electronic metal guitar type tone to it. It's man, this is it starts kicking into high gear. It's so great. It's definitely one of my favorite parts.
The score in the theatrical cut at that point. And I can't remember what you used to.
Oh no, it's just it's ding, 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 ding. It is. I don't know what is. It's it's a Roger Rabbit movie or something. I don't know what it is.
Well, I mean, nothing against Danny Elfman. I mean, he's had some very awesome scores.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember when I put on Dick Tracy, and I totally forgot that Danny Elfman did that score. It's an amazing score. It worked for that movie. When it came to trying to whatever they were trying, and I remember even back when all this was happening, and they announced that Whedon was going to be taking over, and I was trying to be optimistic. Hey guys, Snyder chose Whedon; it's going to be okay. Bit, and then when they switched over to Danny Elfman, I went, oh, okay, he's going to use some of the old score. It's going to be okay, guys. Until I actually heard.
Looking back on all those things, Dave, there were so many red flags that we tried to just rationalize, I guess.
Yeah.
It's why would we think that Joss Whedon would be a good fit to take over and continue Zack's vision? Why would we think that Danny Elfman would be the one to take over from a Junkee XL? All these things.
Just what's crazy is we've seen all this stuff over the last few years about how this movie was such a mishmash of Whedon, Snyder, Johns, whoever else in DC, who knows. And then I was reading, I think it was in Sean O'Connell's Release the Snyder Cut book. He actually mentions Holt McCallany's robbery scene on the rooftop in the theatrical cut.
Yeah.
And he they actually cut stuff from that too that he was
he even said to be.
Yeah. I was
nobody's safe.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. It's just a jigsaw puzzle of a movie. I
know. Well, I mean, it's essentially you got a painter, and I was watching. I think it was Adam Carolla that even talked about it. He's not into all this stuff, but he kind of commented about because some of the people that he works with mentioned it, and it was funny because they all mentioned oh yeah, they saw it. So and so saw it. They loved it. They loved it. But Carolla's not into this kind of stuff. But when he was caught up on the situation, he brought up a good analogy. He goes if you were to bring a painter in that starts painting this whole thing, and they're about 60 or 70% into it,
what can you do with this?
Bring in another painter to try to paint over that a little bit or try to add to it. It's not going to look. It's going to look like shit.
Yeah.
It's not
I I think Affleck had the best description when he said it was like a cow's head with a horse's body or whatever when he was on doing the way back press tour. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
That interview was so brutal. Is that the one where they ask him the question and then he's like, well, like
yeah, he's having a hard time. Yeah.
That poor guy, man. I mean, because being a director himself, and the fact that Affleck was always, he got brought onto this thing, and it's like BVS got fucked with, Suicide Squad got fucked with, and then Justice League got majorly fucked with, and it's just kind of like, man, he just saw all this, and being the guy that who's established and who is also a director, seeing all this. That's why when it came to if they're going to do some additional photography, I kept going, Affleck will totally be there for Snyder, 100% there. And he was. Even Snyder said it was kind of difficult because he was doing a lot of things, but he made time to hey, I'm going to help. You want to do this epilogue thing and what's funny about it is it sets up more of the universe. It's not like it just wraps things up.
Right.
I love the fact that Affleck, we're going to do something that's fucking awesome where I'm going to interact with the Joker and set up maybe possibly for I'm here for you, man. What do you want me to do? And he did.
Yeah.
So great.
The way that Zach handled this movie to me was just the ultimate mic drop because everybody at WB's wanting it to be all right, let's button this bad boy up onto the next thing.
They still did, yeah. And
everything that he did, there's so many storylines you could branch off of. The end product is just it's like the base of a tree, and you could go so many ways.
He planted that tree, and that's the way it was, man. And we're gonna bring in somebody else who's backstage, Mr. Scott McClellan. What is up?
Hey.
Good to see you, Scott.
Good to see you guys again.
Nice hoodie.
Yes,
Thank you.
You were on their program.
They were very kind to invite me on. It was a very good conversation.
Oh man!
When they name drop me as an inspiration along with Tim, it's just okay, dude.
I
get it. Okay, I'll be on your show.
Oh, fine. Go ahead. Yeah.
How was that hoodie?
That was
That's the one that I want to get.
Oh, wasn't that the night where you figured out your thermostat situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Dave, did I ever tell you this?
I don't think he did.
You know how I would always come on and be in my bathrobe or my Suicide Squad blanket? Yeah. That's because I forgot that the thermostat down here isn't automatic like the thermostat upstairs. So the whole reason it was cold down here was because my dumb ass didn't turn the heat on.
How long have you lived there, Scott?
6 years last month.
Okay, so took
So
that.
He had his Suicide Squad blanket, and he didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was good for the aesthetic of his shot of so it worked, But anyway, Scott, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. My baby.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Got mine 2 days ago.
And my second one from Target is coming tomorrow.
When's your third and fourth coming?
Well, the Best Buy one shipped today, so I'm waiting to see when that one arrives, and then I'll be good because then I'll have one that I'll keep because I love this cover art, and then I have 2 steel books. And I will replace discs in the steel books because honestly,
there you go.
The case is actually it's pretty vanilla. It's literally just the 4K disc, and then of course the digital code that comes with it. Yeah. And so literally, I'm only keeping the cheapo plastic thing because, dude, this This rocks.
I still remember when those posters came out, man. I was at an AutoZone. No, I was at an Ace Hardware. That's what I was at. I remember that. I was at an Ace Hardware.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So good. And I remember when I got home and all of a sudden it was just blowing up that these new posters came out that were like that. And everybody's freaking out about them. And speaking of posters too, Scott, did you get your Snyder Cut Real poster yet?
They actually came in like a couple of weeks ago. I got the frames today because I got the real poster and I got the crumbly logo poster. I'm still sitting here in complete shock about why the flag poster hasn't been offered
needs
yet.
to be done. But this is an additive to the Vodka Stream Lounge that really nobody can see because I'm right in front of it. But if you guys want to get that, I did post a link down below. But
I was watching the episode last week. And I was laughing so hard because I know Scott's been buying everything in sight. And I was laughing so hard at your reaction, Dave. You're like, there was a point where Scott was sending me stuff, and I just had to be like, stop! I can't do this anymore.
I'm like, dude, my wallet right now. I'm like, I'm not currently working in real life. I can't. I gotta watch my funds, man. But I mean, Scott, he sent me this, and I'm like, I can't pass that up. I want the reels in a frame.
Because you were the one who were teasing, like you knew that was coming, and you were teasing us. So I mean, I already know that the reel is going. I have a nice blank spot on my wall right here. Nice. That the reel is definitely going here. I don't think I can fit both posters, so the other one will probably go in the other blank spot over there because I've got like the Jim Lee fandom poster of Robert Pattinson's Batman and some other stuff that will go. I mean. I've got walls everywhere. And, my wife is like, can you put more stuff on the wall? And my answer is yes. There is always a blank piece of drywall that I can put a nail in and I can hang something on the wall.
Exactly. That's the way we had Paul Shirey on last week, and his walls are just covered. He's got stuff from
there.
Yeah. It's like he's definitely running out of space.
But to answer, I think Ryan, you were the one who asked. These hoodies from the DC comic shop, very comfy. I mean, not nearly as comfortable as the Ink to the People ones are just like butter on you. But these are warm. Like I have a Flash one, this one, and a Superman one. And I've worn the Flash one, the Superman one to some soccer games when the wind's blowing, and they keep you warm enough when the wind's blowing. Yeah,
nice.
That's good. So, anyways, so when it comes to like stuff that happened this week, I mean, I'm trying to remember like
anything happened this week.
Yeah, nothing. What are you talking about? It was just totally just blank. No, but. Like, I'm trying to remember, like, what exactly happened this week as opposed to last week. It seems like everything just kind of...
That's true.
Like, I'm like, I don't even know, like, when was that? When was the Ann Sarnoff article? When was all that? And
that was 2 weeks. That was two weeks ago.
Yes.
But
it's like an eternity at this point.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in a Snyder Cut hangover right now. I mean, you guys have run me around about how many times you've seen it. And it's only because I had to go back to work this week, and dang, this has been a rough week for me. Like I kind of like checked out that week before spring break, and then I had spring break to just kind of like devote myself to the hype and stuff. But I'll be honest, that this week of going back to work, I kind of had to just sort of like unplug to kind of like re-enter into like real life. So like I'm still catching up on like Dave's, your Film Junkie Live stuff. I'm still like, I'm trying to catch up on some of them. Well, some of them, like I'm laying in bed trying to watch, and the next thing I know, literally your Monday night video, I literally like, I woke up and it was like at the third bullet point, and I was like, oh damn, okay, yeah, go to sleep, man, go to sleep. And I almost can't keep up with the news because honestly, the news right now is killing my buzz, man.
Yeah,
and it's like
it is true,
and it's nothing. There's the negative stuff, there's the noise, and then there's just stuff that's just like, because we've reached a point that we know why this news is coming out, or at least we can heavily speculate why the news is coming out. It's like, it's so hard to actually care, because it's like everything they release, everything that they announce is just them trying to dangle some sort of shiny penny in my face. And I'm like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. No, not falling for this. And it's hard because it's like I should be excited about whatever they're announcing, but their intentions are so dishonorable. It makes it hard. The best thing I've got is the fact that I got to see that theatrical trailer for the Suicide Squad. I'm like, okay, that trailer, that's the movie I want to watch. That Red Band trailer didn't do it for me. This theatrical trailer, thank you. That's the movie that I saw at Fandom that actually got me excited.
What they should have led with, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think we're all kind of on the same page there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds about right. No, but like, with some of the news that came out this week, I'm even trying to go like, what exactly happened? Everything just kind of mashing together. And then, and then last night we kind of get like a little tease of something where it's like, hey, there's some Green Lantern right there. That's interesting. And then there's just, I don't know. There's just,
there's the, what do you guys think about the New Gods and Trench?
That's, there's that too, which is, a lot of other people were like, is this April Fool's? No, that's just a bad thing landed on.
Yeah. What got me about that was the fact that's like after this long list of movies in development over the last 5 years,
which you have that list,
which I have that list. It's so jarring to go, wow, you're actually publicly canceling something. Like, I don't know what it's like for us just to never speak of it again.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the list, that's what happens.
There's a lot of movies that we just never talk about anymore.
Yeah. The fail rate is, I can't tell you how excited I was for the Nightwing movie.
So was I.
Just gone.
Oh, yeah. From, what's his name? What's the name
Chris
of Lego Batman,
Chris
right?
McKay,
yeah. And I thought I was like, that would have been perfect, and I was excited for it, but that was at the time where they were going, well, it's still Jason Todd in that whole thing, because that was like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that.
That was like that whirlwind where they were like, it was so exciting because they were like, Deathstroke movie, Nightwing movie. Like, still had all this other stuff in the mix. Like,
all right, let's bring in Mr. Stephen Colbert. What's up, sir?
Hey.
What's up, man?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so glad your microphone's on when you actually showed up.
I was fixing it backstage. I was like, I think it's all set this time. I was like,
that's why I gave you some time. I'm like, make sure that he's got his microphone.
And
Fennel Fairy Butter Bar.
My mute button is like busted, and so whenever I realize that it's muted, I've got to find like whatever the smallest item is I have around and
to like stick it
in there and fix it. So I need a new mic, but.
It's good stuff. No, we were just talking about failed, the DC movies that were that showed up that were in development that never came to be. I mean, Steven Spielberg was supposed to do like something. What happened to that?
Blackhawks.
It's been really. It's hilarious spending the last several years like trying to explain it because they're always like, whatever happened to that New Gods movie? They greenlit that 3 years ago. And it's like, no, they didn't. They never greenlit.
They never really greenlit.
That movie was always smoke trying to start a fire. And I don't know whose idea it was, but like it was, Ava or whoever wanted Ava to do a New Gods movie, and so they told Deadline, and Deadline was like, "Hey, a New Gods movie is in development. That doesn't mean it's greenlit. That doesn't mean there's a cast. That doesn't mean there's a budget." And then people can't tell the difference between a trade report and a studio announcement. And so you just go like years and people are like, oh yeah, well, that New Gods movie is coming out. It's like, no, it doesn't have a release date.
Never even had a finished script.
Yeah,
exactly. And then
they were working on a treatment. It was
so then yesterday or last week or last month or whenever it was, they finally canceled that.
Yesterday. Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Exactly. The fact that they come out and they're like, not only are they like, oh, this is no longer in development. It's like, gee, great. And then everyone's like, I can never tell if people on film Twitter are like feigning surprise. It's like there's like a lot of sanctimony going on where they're like, oh, how dare this happen? My hopes and dreams were all pinned on this movie that we hadn't had any news about ever.
Literally heard nothing about.
And then of course they threw that little, like the whole reason they ran that article at all was to clear out a little bit of their backlog and just be like, because this decision was made a long time ago. It's not like they decided this yesterday.
Yeah.
And so to me, the fact they threw in that jab at like, oh, it's because of the Snyder cut.
Oh my
like,
God. I know that was so stupid. And like, it's
like,
I mean,
my favorite part was that even like a few people reacted to it. Like most of film Twitter, like even like the anti-Snyder people were like, "Yeah, that's bullshit." Like there's no, there's no way that's.
Well, and then it's funny too because they're going like, "Oh yeah, poor Ava and poor James Wan." I'm like, "Hey, do you realize James Wan's still doing Aquaman too, right?" I mean, like he's not it's not like
and Ava's got DMZ and Naomi. Like she's got a deal with Warner Brothers. It's just that this movie has been.
But for the longest time, I remember like just even doing my shows. Wait, what's going to happen to New Gods? I kept going. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And then it just seemed like like you said, they had a scapegoat. It's like, oh yeah, well they're not going to do it because Zack Snyder over here did like Dark Side and some of these New Gods, and everybody's like, we don't want to like be too close. Like what? Shut up.
I found it so funny.
Of course, I also would love to know what was their excuse for the trench not happening, because I think that's an interesting one to get.
Here's a question: was the trench ever happening?
That's a good point.
Philosophical.
Well, the point for me was always, I remember as soon as that thing was announced, I was like, I don't care. Like it was one that I didn't care about. But I also think it's interesting because we have our favorite scapegoats. But if you think about the fact that the trench was a Jeff Johns creation for the New 52 Aquaman run, there's the optimist in me that goes, we just want to get that out of the way. Like, we don't want to develop that. The optimist in me, which I have I'm slowly losing any hope and optimism at this point because they are. It's been like a death by 1,000 cuts, as they just want to be like poke, 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 poke.
Did anybody else find it hilarious how WB it was that Ava put that tweet out and then like. I don't know, a half hour later or something, the Deadline article came out.
Wasn't it? I thought it was vice versa. I thought the article came out.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. There was the Ava tweet, quote tweeting Ray Porter saying that there's a recent decision. So that got us all like our antennae up.
Yeah, all of our ears went up. Yeah,
right. And then like an hour or two later, the Deadline article dropped. Or I saw the Hollywood Reporter, and then she then tweets out with a picture of her and Tom King basically saying goodbye to the project is basically it.
It was just like WB was sitting back, like, we'll wait till Ava talks about it and then we'll put a release out. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was always very iffy too because I mean, I'm not saying that she's not a bad director. I mean, but I mean, I saw Wrinkle in Time and I was not impressed by that. So when I heard that she was attached to this, I went, ugh, okay, well, hopefully.
It just didn't seem like a good fit.
It did not.
Well, but I've not seen A Wrinkle in Time because I have no desire to see it. I love that book.
Yeah.
So what I've heard,
don't see the movie.
No,
if you love the book, do not see the movie.
My wife loves the book. She does not love the movie.
But I will jump in to defend Ava on that for only the sake of I could see that being more of a Disney thing than a her thing. Because I know people who love her other work like Selma and other things that are strong movies, then I can look at something like A Wrinkle in Time and just go, well, that's just more of a director for hire. They chew you up, they spit you out kind of deal. I mean, honestly, when you see Disney do that or when Warner Brothers does it, I mean, at this point, are we surprised when something like that happens? I'm not. So I'm not going to lay A Wrinkle in Time completely at Ava's feet when they're, from what it sounds like, because once again, I've not seen the movie. I've had no desire to see the movie. But just like that thing had script issues and all kinds of things because they were obviously trying to take the idea of the book and turn it into something else.
Yeah. And it did not work.
The thing about that, like, I think so many things about the way Marvel Studios operates has, like, I don't know, spoiled or warped. Like, people are aware of, like, behind the scenes stuff or like movie making processes in a way that they never were before. But as a result, that's now become a part of the PR. It's like part of the marketing is the like, oh, it's all practical stunts. It's never practical stunts. It's never like it's digital doubles if you follow any VFX artists on Twitter, they like get so mad every time the director is like, we didn't have any digital effects. Like, really? So what did I spend? what was I pulling all-nighters for 6 months? And then oh, it was all puppets, really. So why did I build a digital model for Snoke? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Right. And so one of those things that people like the release slate or the plan, I guess we're going to get into that is having a plan or having a release slate.
If they're planning a plan, so they can plan to have a plan in the future plan.
But look at
Steven, I think I commented on your tweet when you put that out. That was hysterical. The highlighted plan section.
Oh man, and I just did one paragraph. I mean, if you do a control find on the a control F on that article and type in plan, then it shows up like a ton of times. That was just like the most densely populated.
Remind me
I see you do caca poo poo.
For me, episode where the Seinfeld episode where George does the risk management.
Yeah.
That's exactly what. In order to define risk, we must first whatever risk.
That is a good comparison right there.
I compared it to Bloody Mary or Beetlejuice. If we say it enough times, it becomes real. Like that was.
Yeah.
If we can say plan 3 times, the plan will appear.
Well, and so that's what I think the Warner Brothers problem has been for a long time. And like you compare. I hate comparison or doing comparisons or like putting them head to head with Marvel. But if you look at what Marvel did versus what DC did or was trying to do, was Marvel came out in when was it before a couple years before Civil War came out and said, here's our plan. And they said, we're going to do, they said Serpent Society, but that was a joke. They replaced it with Civil War at the end of the panel. Like, we're going to do Civil War, we're going to do Ant-Man, we're going to do
plan, I guess
Guardians of the Galaxy, etc. And they lined it all up, and they said, and then Infinity War Part 1 and 2, which then became Endgame. And so as a result, then no matter what they did in those movies, everyone was like, oh, it's all part of the plan, right? It's all leading to Infinity War. And so like the fact that like Thanos changes color and between movies and like his model changes, and then he shows up in Infinity War and like retcons everything Thanos had done, nobody cares because there was a plan, right? They told you that we're going to start here and we're going to end here, and then that's what they did. So therefore it's the plan. And meanwhile, DC didn't do any of that. At a stockholders meeting, they were like, someone was like, oh yeah, we're doing these movies. Like there was no reveal. They didn't say what Justice League 1 and 2 were. And so people just kind of slotted it into the way this happens is the way Marvel did it. And so therefore they're following this path. But because they didn't say like Final Crisis Part 1 and 2 or whatever, people didn't know. Like, it's so even though the giant fucking Omega symbol in BVS, people are like, what's going on? It reminds me of
kills me to see.
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Everyone's like, I don't get it, Big Dan. Like, what?
to see these whiteboards that exist now, and how you couldn't just get it, just pull it together, guys. And
I wanted to strangle so many people before the Snyder Cut was announced and lead up to that. The number of times I heard finally got it through someone's head, oh, there was a 5-part arc. So you're saying this murder Batman, his arc would have been completed in 2 movies. I wonder how that would have gone now. And that. Yeah. People literally were against this universe because they saw Man of Steel and they were like, I can't tolerate 30 movies of that version of Superman. It's like, maybe you shouldn't tolerate 30 movies of any iteration of any character.
And now after watching this, they're going, oh, that's what they were doing. That's the Superman that I wanted right there. And then they're going back and going, I get this now.
Well, and then meanwhile, at the same time,
also Snyder's coming out and saying that Justice League Part 3 is basically Man of Steel 2 because Justice League Part 3 is when he becomes the leader of, he talks about him becoming the leader of the Justice League and leading the armies of men against Darkseid at the climax of that movie.
You know what? And I love the fact, this is why I love the fucking balls of Zack Snyder. Is like the finale of all this was going to have no Batman. He was going to die in the previous, which I thought was fucking fantastic. I want to see Batman go out in the blaze of glory. But in this full-on final act of this of this arc, Batman was not going to be there. It was going to be full-fledged Superman leading pretty much the world against Darkseid and all his. I mean, come on.
You want to see a saga with stakes like you've never seen in a superhero saga? Like, this is it.
and then this whole time, Warner Brothers, instead of telling people that was what was going to happen, I think because probably they wanted it to continue for 30 movies, and they were like, well, we don't want to, which if they just embraced it, they would have been done already by now. We're almost done. We'd be waiting, Justice League 3 would be coming out like November of this year at the latest. And so instead of like telling everybody what the plan was so that people could say like, oh yeah, murder Batman, that's part of the plan. We're progressing down the plan here. They've been operating their, I think what I said on Twitter was something along the lines of like, they've been operating their PR, like payday loans, where every time something bad happens, they're like, oh, well, Ava's doing, like Justice League comes out and people are like, oh, that's so bad. And they're like, well, no, Ava's doing New Gods. And then like, that's all of a sudden this thing and it never fabricates. So they're selling themselves short. And they're like, well, no, there's a Nightwing movie and there's a Black Superman. And like you said that one already.
Their
like,
whole strategy is so great.
Like, this time it's going to be Michael B. Jordan though, and they're like, no, but you said that last time. I'm like, well, this is Bel-Zod, not Calvin Ellis. Like, okay, how many times?
The other Black Superman, yeah.
Because I made the joke on Twitter. I made the joke, and I was nervous for a second because I was like, someone's going to think that I'm like making a racist joke or something. But my point was that every time something goes bad for DC, like the next day they're like, don't worry, we got Black Superman coming.
Yeah.
Like, where is he? I don't like. Cool, awesome. I'd love to see that. Where is he?
Nothing ever has momentum when they decide to go public with it.
No, exactly. Well, because none of it does. Because instead of selling what they have in the works, they're always trying to get people excited for something that they don't have yet. And then when that doesn't pan out, they have to find something else they don't have yet to sell people on. And now finally the Snyder cut comes out and people are like, oh yeah, that was good after all. The thing that they never sold. and they didn't even sell this time. Zack Snyder comes like through his own like marketing strategy and like artistic merit. The Warner Brothers did nothing. And people say, oh, the plan was actually pretty cool. And it's like, maybe Warner Brothers should have told people that 5 years ago.
Right. You know what they should have done? There was the whiteboard. You should have tweeted like that shot that Jim Lee tweeted out where you can't read the whiteboard, but all you do is see this giant wall of text.
All it takes.
It's like
with concept art, like let people glimpse a blurry concept art of Darkseid. The fact that people weren't like freaking out that Darkseid was coming after BVS is like, what? Why? Right. That was like a bigger tease than the Thanos tease in Avengers, and people freaked out over that. I don't know.
Infinity, right. That's because it was announced like 8 years ago. No, I'm not even being hyperbolic.
No,
like
you're not.
Like we were talking about Black Adam when I was at another job working with people who were retired now. Like I
want to say that was 2015 that day.
Well,
I swear, I think Dark Knight Rises was coming out or something, and we were talking about
that's like 2013.
That's why I don't know.
2012.
I want to see someone graph it out. I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and so I've seen a lot of like my perspective on rebooting a franchise is I've got a lot of experience following
Trubisky guy
franchise reboots, and one of the things that I learned from that I saw a really cool analysis a few years ago was someone did it. That we had a new GM, and they were like, let's take a look at how the old GM did, and they charted out how many of our own draft picks were still on the team and which of them were starting. And it was abysmal. It was like none of our first round picks were still around. Most of our starters were trades or free agents, which is like incredibly inefficient. And it was just like, wow, I don't know. The draft strategy was just gone. So the way that applies to movies is that, like look at Walter Hamada, and his job is to have a roster of movies. And what movies do we have release dates for currently that started production or started development under him? The Flash has been in. That was part of the original slate. I know it's not the same version, but I mean, it's been Suicide Squad 2 is a sequel, or I mean, it is the result. Maybe it's not a direct sequel, but it was a sequel, and it's that same project that changed development a number of times. But it's the green light on that was given before he was around. Black Adam is old. Shazam. I know those both come from New Line too. Is the funny thing, but those have been in the works since even before Zack Snyder came around. And what's his name? Sandberg was involved in the development of Shazam since like 2005. Aquaman 2 is a sequel to a movie that was part of the original slate. Wonder Woman 3, I don't even believe that that's actually technically in the works. I think that was another PR thing. But even if it is, it's another sequel to a movie started under like what all of the new project, the Blue Beetle and the New Gods and the Trench and all of that stuff that like appeared under Hamada is either not happening or has been canceled. Like where's their roster of like, if I don't know, that's what's so confusing to me. And I talked about when I was on with Scott on Squadcast a few months ago, is like where your job is to fill up the content. Like where's the HBO Max shows? Where's the
we got the Batman show. We got the Batman show.
So like you do that same analysis that I was talking about with the Toby Emmerich. Not Toby Emmerich. I'm crossing my franchises now. The old Chicago Bears GM had a similar sounding name. You do that analysis of like how many of your draft picks are still around. It's like none.
Right.
Isn't like the entire roster is somebody else's roster that he's just like nursing across the board. Some of which he actually actively fought, like the Joker. I don't know. I have no idea functionally.
It's so funny how you make that metaphor, and then I'm thinking about like my sports team. And I'm like, dude, my sports team is like Marvel because it's like, because I'm sitting here going, Nick Saban, trust the process. And you just churn it out and you just repeat it over and over again. And what do you end up getting? Like every other year, you get a championship. And it's just, he stays the same. And the players come and go, but they're there for like 3 or 4 years. And then you get a fresh new batch and you just do the same. Like it's like that. It's the assembly line method like Marvel Studios does, where if you just do what we do, we get stuff made, and they sneeze and make $1 billion.
Yeah, it's like the bane of my existence is the Green Bay Packers. Like 90% of their roster is homegrown draft picks.
Exact opposite. Yeah,
like, yeah, it's But by the way, it was Phil Emery. That's why I confused it with Emmerich. I was like started to say the word Phil Emery was the old Bears GM. Anyway, rabbit hole. But yeah.
Well, I want to roll tide you, Scott, just because I have to. I always like to do that because it's my favorite thing to do because I don't like sports, but I love roll tiding people. And I also got to say that Steven dropped a Squadcast reference, and Dave and I were the only ones that drink. So we finally get on the vodka stream. Somebody name drops, and nobody drinks but the two of us. So cheers.
That's why I said drink. Yeah.
I finished off my Diet Pepsi. I had 2 beers at dinner. And I'm sorry, I'm still having to live off of 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah, that was a good one. Woof.
The stuff of legends.
I figured if this was gonna be a late night, I needed this to snuggle with later because I watched you on that stream, and I just want to be. I'm in good company, so I just felt like it was.
Well, I think Brandon and Ryan are due some hugs at this point.
Yeah, we need it.
Take a couple shots.
It's been a crazy couple of weeks. We need some hugs.
It really has, man. Jeez. It really has. I mean, and like I said, it seems like it's all merging together because I'm going like, when was that Ann Sarnoff interview? And I'm going, was that this week or was that last week? And it was essentially like 2 weeks ago. And here we are now. We still don't have definitive fucking numbers.
Oh my gosh.
That's why that was like, I'm going to title this Release the Snyder Cut Numbers tonight because it's still not there and it's still frustrating. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, not even the man himself has gotten any kind of conversation from anybody.
If I got a drop for you that I should have gotten had you get ahead of time, is Brian Regan.
Yes.
You ever seen the sketch where he's talking about weighing himself on the scale?
I don't know if I've seen that.
And he's like, well, what if I can't see the numbers? and they're like, well, no, he's got to weigh the box. You got to weigh the box for the post office. Like, put the box on the scale. Like, but it's too big. I can't see the numbers. Like, okay, well, pick up the box, step on the scale, check the numbers, get off the box, step back on, measure it, subtract the difference of your body weight from the. And he's like, okay, but I pick up the box and I stand on it and I still can't see the numbers. So anyway, just clip out the I can't see the numbers part.
Yeah.
The other one you need to do is like his ER one where he's talking about the pain scale and he just keeps saying, say 8. Say 8.
Oh, I love that guy. I actually watched his recent comedy special that he had. I think it was on Netflix. Yeah, Netflix. And it's kind of funny too because I didn't even recognize him because all of a sudden he's like full on silver. He's like silver hair and everything. Brian Regan right now. I don't know if you guys have seen his new special.
I need to check this out because that's a family favorite
comedian.
Yeah,
it just got released, and he even talks about that. He goes like, "Yeah, the pandemic happened, and all of a sudden I turned into a senior citizen." Yeah, that's how he.
You do that really well.
Oh yeah, I can do it. I can do a good Brian Regan. Yeah, I know, but
the yellow one is the sun.
Yeah. I love that guy.
Seriously, it's like, but HBO Max, I have watched my Twitter account. I've watched them tout the Tina documentary. I've seen them tout. I mean, you get the Tina documentary
my phone when I saw those numbers come out.
Next day.
Well, no, Godzilla versus Kong, we got something the next day. And I'm still going
box office, yeah.
I'm just like, it's 2 weeks.
They're scared.
Do you think they're gonna release everything at once and fold it into Godzilla vs Kong and just so nobody ever has clarity?
They're trying to pull something. They're fucking scared. These people, at Warner Brothers, the part of that old guard, they're scared because they know that they made a mistake. And look what's happened. I always say this. Brad fucking Paisley literally tweeted out # restore the Snyderverse. That was so random, and he's got like 5 million followers. He got Leslie Jones doing a whole commentary of the damn thing.
I'm sorry, I've seen 2 porn stars at this point that have been like, Sophie D is doing a topless movie review.
That's right. I saw that too.
And I'm sitting here going, wow. What?
It's become
am I living in?
It broke out. It was a film Twitter meme, but like it's fascinating if you do a Twitter search for like the word Snyder cut and like filter out all of the fans and stuff talking about it, and I'm seeing like there's sports teams that are I saw like a sports update for like I don't know, it was college sports or what it was. No, it was Australia. It was rugby or something. But they were talking about how much time was left in the game versus, or how long it had been since the team had scored or something. And they were like, the Snyder cut is longer than that. Like the length of the Snyder cut, or like, and the idea of like a do-over that's better than the first. Like it's about to be added to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary with the frequency with which people are using it in like colloquial, like casual, not film Twitter conversations of.
When we had Paul Shirey on last week, he called it a cultural zeitgeist, and that's totally what it is. Like,
yeah.
Well, it became not only what I say cultural zeitgeist, it's become a cultural bandwagon. Like you're realizing that some of these celebrities and some of these verifieds are only talking about it, I feel like, because they realize it will get them clicks, it will get them engagement on their tweets, and their tweets have to either be neutral to positive. Like they know which way the wind is blowing. And they realize I need to talk about it, I need to express an interest in it, or I need to say something positive about it. I mean, how many other events recently do you get this kind of engagement where people feel like I need to say something about this movie, and I probably need to say something positive, or at least say that I'm watching it? Like you don't do that unless you feel like I'm going to be left out in the cold if I don't. And I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what it's like. I mean, besides the frustration of HBO Max not doing numbers and the studio being the studio, I am trying to understand the last 2 weeks of sitting here going, I'm not fighting anyone. I'm not defending this movie. I'm just like riding the wave, man. And I'm like, I don't know what this is like.
Yeah, it's true. It's very different from anything we've experienced in this fandom.
Like, is this what it's like to be a Marvel fan? Like I don't know.
What was the last time this happened? Wonder Woman? Like
Wonder Woman.
Maybe you could compare
Wonder
it to that.
Woman was the I mean, if we're just looking at our download numbers over at Squadcast, I mean, the last time we've had any kind of download engagement like this is Wonder Woman 2017. That has always been, since 2017, that's been the one to beat. And it's on, and Zack Snyder's Justice League is on track to beat it. I mean, it was almost there. I mean, if you just look at like the 10 days, and then when you look at our all-time numbers, you got to remember that when we're talking about all-time numbers, just because something came out 4 years ago doesn't mean people stop downloading it. So when something that came out 2 weeks ago is getting equal to download numbers of something that people have had 4 years to download, I'm sorry, mathematically that means something.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I remember Tim posting the numbers, and you're like up 245.
Yeah, that chart is
like that.
ridiculous.
Like, that's insane.
I was pulling up. I do a lot of like Google Trend analysis just because I work in so many different, like. Oh, there we go.
You still can't see the numbers.
That's a good pull to get.
You still can't see the numbers.
I'll have to get that drop.
There we go.
That drop. Yeah.
That was weird. Sorry, I saw you like freak out. I was like, oh, that added weird. I should have just shared the tab.
Sorry.
But yeah, it's like we saw a very similar thing on ours. For we've been cross-posting all of our Justice League by the minute episodes to the BVS by the minute feed.
Cheers.
And twice. And
by the way, why are you your name literally says Brian Regan numbers?
Oh man, I swapped it out from.
I was like, wait a minute,
because I can't see the numbers.
And no, but in our and so we didn't have as much viewership on our Justice League by the minute episodes because most people had been listening to them on the other feed until we're like, okay, no more of that. Swap over to the other feed now if you want to listen to the Justice League stuff. And that's where we put our like watch party commentary. I think is what we called it. And like the numbers on that were big enough that it's like clearly it wasn't just people who are our subscribers. It was like people were seeking out a commentary track to listen along with. In a quantity that was like far greater than like what people were casually listening to our other stuff for, which is a huge indication. But then also like you look at stuff like I think I was talking about Google Trends, and the popularity of the search term Justice League is last time I checked it was about as high, if not higher, than it was in 2017. The search term for Justice League sequel or Justice League 2 is like double or triple what it was in 2017.
Phenomenal, considering the fact that Warner Brothers did nothing for this movie.
Yeah,
from a promotion standpoint.
And that's like Google. It's weird. So what does it mean? Are people searching it in negative context? All we know is the fact that they're searching it. But what it does show is that the interest literally is at an all-time high. The interest in Justice League, the brand, the concept of Justice League, the terms. People are Googling the words Justice League more than they ever have in the history of Google right now. And even, Justice League sequel and Justice League 2. And DCEU, I think, went up even. Like it's
IMDb today, the still most popular movie #1, and then Justice League theatrical is like #3 because people are just like they're trying to figure out what the difference. Like they're talking about it, they're trying to research. It's just
and this is what gets me is like, so Warner Brothers, the studio, should be the one trying to sell their product and push their product
crazy
with the numbers. And yet here we are, but here we are as just the fans or the fan press or whatever category people like us fall into. I really don't.
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
But like whatever we qualify as, it's like why are we the ones who are going through insane hoops to like point out things that, Steven, to your point earlier, like when we're getting any kind of data from third-party people where we have no parity or relativity or anything, like what do these numbers mean? Because numbers are numbers until you give something to compare it to. And here we are as, Joe Blows with a hobby, and we're the ones trying to provide numbers and context to the numbers to say, no, this is real.
Yeah.
Don't you see?
I feel like there's a narrative that like Warner Brothers PR. It's so weird to call it PR because it's anti-PR. It is literally the opposite of what PR is supposed to do. But they're using the PR arm to do the opposite of what PR is supposed to do, and it's that was a rabbit trail and totally blew my train of thought. But I think that they got caught flat-footed for somehow because I guess internally that term unwatchable got thrown around so much. I think they were expecting, or I don't know. It's so hard to grasp the concept that I think they were thinking it would come out and people would go, "Oh, I get why you didn't release that version now." Yeah. Like, oh yeah, Whedon did the best he could. I get it.
Remember when Zach was saying like, "Oh yeah, they wanted to release it unfinished," and he went like, "No, you're not going to do that because one of the reasons you could be like, hey, see, it's not that great. Look at how fucked up it is." What
used to work in the past, like you look at when so obviously they succeeded in getting Zach out of there. There were the people in the film influencers who like wanted to get rid of him, and he was gone, and Warner Brothers wanted to get rid of him and they got rid of him. And then Justice League came out and it was like an objectively heinous act of film. And even more if you go back and like anybody that hasn't reviewed the theatrical cut, go watch the mother box scene where Zach has the circular camera going around where they talk about Superman's resurrection, and go compare it to just like from a filmmaking technique, just like basic film school 101, like blocking a scene, lighting a scene, lined like everything, continuity, whatever. It is beyond amateur. It is like it's hard to watch because it's so cringe, not because it's like bad dialogue or bad story, but it is just insane how bad it is. And yet somehow they apparently didn't realize that people were going to like this movie as much as they did, because what happened going back to 2017, if you remember, it came out and the narrative was like, oh, it was a step in the right direction. It got a better like Rotten Tomatoes than Suicide Squad and BVS, and all of the people who didn't want Zack Snyder around said like, well, it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. Or it's like, finally, well, there's some things to work on. At least finally Superman is smiling, even if it's with a fucked up mustache face or whatever. But like, people are actually trying to, they used to be able to just say things. And then that was like what everyone ate up. They'd like publish, or people get in YouTube or whatever it was their platform was, and be like, it's a step in the right direction. And then like the masses would be like, oh, it's a step in the right direction. Yeah. And then this movie came out and it feels like they did the same thing, but people are like, no. Like, no, that was not a step in the right direction. People are like, oh, Whedon did the best he could. It's like, I don't think so. And then, and like this Ann Sarnoff interview came out, and that was like one of the biggest ones with Warner Bros. PR, where they're now trying to say these things using the old playbook of just kind of saying, like, speaking things into existence. And Beetlejuice. Exactly. The plan, or the toxic fans, or the vocal minority, or all of those things. But it's not standing because like you can't say that it's just a vocal minority when the movie's number one on IMDb, or when the search value of Justice League is at its highest point ever, or when the movie's got
70 million tweets in a day. Like,
yeah, exactly. The movie's at 72% on Rotten Tomatoes. Brad Paisley's tweeting "Restore the Snyderverse." Like, you can't. But they didn't adjust. Like, they didn't come out and say like, "Wow, this was bigger than we expected," or like what? Or literally, they could have said nothing. But no, they came out and actively acted as if this was just a director's cut that like is a special feature on the DVD. Don't worry about that. We're going to move on. And people are like, or I remember Kevin Smith's reaction when they said back when that Walter Hamada "It's a cul-de-sac" quote came out. Kevin Smith's reaction. Yeah, Kevin Smith's reaction was the most pure to me because they read it on his show and he goes, "Could we just pause for a second?
Why would you say that?
Why would anybody ever say that?" And people, because the movie was not yet, people didn't get it yet. And you see when the movie came out, all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, I get it. I'm sorry, Ray Fisher. I'm sorry, Zack Snyder. I didn't understand what you were talking about. I get it now." And that is a do a Twitter search for "I'm sorry, Zack Snyder," and
exactly what you're saying. Like, this is not even like this isn't even like a fan analysis. This is like purely business. Like, look at it from a business standpoint.
And they didn't pivot at all. They didn't react at all. They just went out with their playbook of like, we're going to say toxic fans, we're going to say vocal minority, we're going to say whatever, and then you've got these people who are like, you know, even look at like someone who we know who's a part of the circle, like Mario Robles, is like, why am I now being grouped in this? I'm not part of that vocal minority. I'm part of the general audience they were going for, and I liked it. And there's a lot of people that are doing that. Like, wait, I'm a toxic fan now? I've been not even a part of this. Why am I all of a sudden being grouped into this? And their failure to read the room with their PR approach is going to, like, they've been building a house of cards in the same way that they're operating their PR releases of oh, New Gods is coming and Nightwing is coming and like all these projects that don't materialize. Years of that are catching up with them now, and they don't have a slate. And Ray Fisher was right, and Zack Snyder was right, and the audience knows it, and they don't have a plan. And the only thing they can do now is start saying like, Black Superman. And I think we've got probably less than a couple weeks or so before like they're going to need to have a come to Jesus moment, or like it's going to start imploding in a big way. And it's kind of scary, but also kind of exciting. Like,
well, I
was giving them enough,
but I want to know
enough rope to hang themselves with. So it's like,
what's rock bottom is the question.
I know. When does the fallout occur? Like, that's the part that gets me, because another thing, and Dave, this connects back. There you are, Dave. This connects to something that you were saying also is, I mean, you joke about how your wallet's on life support. Heaven help my bank account right now.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing all the.
It's called budgeting,
guys. I just bought a third scale black suit Superman from Prime One. All right, so
has anybody gotten any of the Whedon statues?
He refinanced his house to get it too.
Which one did you get?
I got Dark Side.
You got a Dark Side on the throne.
Hey, and speaking of new gods, we got new god Matt.
Oh shit!
But to your point,
I was hoping you were coming, Matt. I wore my Terminator shirt just for you.
Oh, there we go.
But my point is that there are so many. Let's not even think about how much merchandise has been purchased. Jeez. I just want to point the finger at how much merchandise has been made available. How much merchandise has been?
Who thought there was going to be a Martian Manhunter shirt? And I love that shirt. I wore it yesterday.
Yeah.
I wore my Deathstroke shirt yesterday.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it's like, I'm sorry, from the DC Comic Shop, Weta, Hot Toys, Funko, McFarlane. I want to look at all the different vendors who apparently were smart enough to get a license, or somebody said, dude, you need to make this, and this. So I just want to look at the objective fact of how much merchandise is actually being made available. Just someone knew something big was coming, and they produced merchandise expecting for there to be a demand. And then take that as one measure. And then I also want to take the other measure of, and how quickly does that merchandise sell out? So the point is that this is simple microeconomics. I took this in college. It's like you get the XY of supply and demand, and what you're realizing is the demand is outstripping the supply, and that should tell you something about the popularity of the product.
The Funkos sold out. The pre-orders for the McFarlane figurines were selling out. They haven't even like released even like some of the other ones yet, which is weird. But I mean, I've been seeing like when I posted those, like, oh, they're on Amazon right now. I get messages, got mine. I mean, it's pretty insane.
The BVS enhanced edition
Blu-ray,
that's
sold out.
It's sold out twice.
Yes.
Right? Then they get a second.
Yeah. What's crazy is
that's not even Justice League.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
This is just the movie. This is the movie that is 5 years old. that guys, it doesn't even come with a Blu-ray. Literally, it is one disc. It is 4K. I mean, you're talking about niche, like this is like niche of niche, and they can't keep this in stock across multiple online vendors, and it's only being sold online. This is not something you can walk into a store and buy because it's Warner Archive. It's a manufacturer on demand.
And the fascinating thing about that also, when you're talking about from a business perspective, from a customer base or a client base, or managing a network of clients, is that that measures the passion. Like marketing is really hard to get people to take action on something, and so for something like this to say like, okay, well, sure, BVS, it's a big movie, sure, that's going to sell out, but the specialized knowledge required to know, the only people who know it exists, it's available, where to get it, when to get it, are fans. And so when it sells out, what that means is there's a lot of fans and they're passionate. And that's a hard thing to create. Now, it's not like it's going into stores and people are like at Walmart and people are in, like, Joe Smith is there because he sees it and he buys it, and that's why it's selling out. No, it's selling out because there is a highly organized, highly passionate group of people that is large enough to consume the entirety of that demand. And that's you can't buy that. Like that. It's the effort. Warner Brothers did not create that, actually, or arguably they did, but accidentally. It was a consequence of what they did. Galvanized the fandom into what it is now, because I said this in the comments earlier. I'm one of those people who I never saw the other films as much of a challenge to Zack or to the Snyder Cut. Obviously, if like Birds of Prey and all that like blew up massively, it would have been like, well, we don't really need the Snyder Cut. But I don't think that like Pattinson Batman is a threat to Affleck Batman. I think they can all coexist. Changed for me after that Ann Sarnoff interview, because they were always like, oh, you can have multiple Batmans, you can have whatever, and all of a sudden I realized like, no, Warner Brothers sees them as competitive. Warner Brothers sees this as an either or thing, and not only that, but they're telling me it's an either or thing. I was the person who was going to say like, oh, I'll go to all of them because I like all these characters and I like all these actors and these creators, and then Ann Sarnoff basically said, you can't have both of them. And so we are going to choose one over the other, and you have to choose one of the other two. It's like, what? That is literally splitting your audience in half. You are taking a chunk, unless her intention with that, once again, the way that PR department is operating, unless their goal was to say, we don't want the business of Zack Snyder customers anymore, which maybe their Snyder fans are such a monkey on their back that they found that necessary. But unless that was their explicit objective to say, you know what, let's just get rid of them, do whatever we have to do to make them go away. They'll go to Netflix. We'll be done with it. That's the only way that there's anything remotely intelligent. Even then, it's a terrible strategy. But
if they view this fandom and the ridiculous support that these movies get as a problem, there's a deeper problem going on at Warner Brothers. Like, can you imagine a new movie? And let's keep in mind, with all the stuff we're talking about with Justice League, for general audiences, it's a re-release. Like, this movie already came out and it's still doing what it's doing. Can you imagine if you had a entirely new movie with the fandom, with WB's financial support behind it?
Well, I mean, what's funny about this is the movie they wanted in 2017.
Well, imagine
they wanted this kind of fucking, traction. They wanted this movie, and you watch it and you go, wait a minute, this is not like how Batman vs Superman was. This is not like how Man of Steel was. This was a little more lighthearted, but it still has a lot of depth. These characters are fleshed out. A lot of Snyder stuff, like this,
and ironically funnier than 2017.
Can you guys imagine? This is the part that like breaks my brain, and I've got to wonder if somebody at Warner Brothers isn't like, please, like in the Warner Brothers marketing is just like begging them, let us use this, because imagine what would happen if that day that there were 1.5 million tweets, if Warner Brothers wanted there to be more than 1.5 million tweets.
Right. Yeah.
Like, imagine if they were using the hashtag and retweeting big ones, and if they gave it their blessing. They're like, look at the number of creatives that are scared to get involved in it because they don't want to step on either side of this line in the sand.
Yeah.
Imagine if Warner Brothers were like, yeah, go ahead and do that. Just how many people?
Oh,
I mean,
my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, you'd get Godot and you'd get Affleck and you'd get all of them, but also you'd get like James Gunn would be doing it, and you all the other but because there's like this like, oh no, it's only the Resistance or whatever the fans are supposed to even be, but like that it would have been like twice as popular, and it already broke the Endgame record. Like, it's
just listen to that statement. Like,
you are a member of the Rebel Alliance and a traitor. Take her away.
The fans are the Resistance. How messed up is that? Like,
exactly. So and it's frustrating too, because like, and I know I feel bad because I'm like just like ranting, and like Matt has been talking.
No,
it's I was about to interrupt you.
Blah blah blah. Fake fucking fucks.
But I'll say this, and then I'll like turn off my mic. I thought that THR article that came out the other day was actually pretty good about toxic fandom, because it talked about Snyder fans, and it talked about how there's a vocal minority that's a problem, and how they've donated $500,000 to AFSP, and then the rest of it was about how Star Wars fans bullied people of color off of social media and opposed diversity in storytelling and all those other things, which I don't know if it laid it out explicitly, but the toxic fandom argument, which is very much a thing that is being levied against the let's see more Snyder stuff crew. It's being parroted by, or it's being said by Warner Bros. And being parroted by all the journalists who don't like Snyder about, oh, look at the Snyder fans. And unfortunately, there are some fans that give them evidence to prove it true. But as a fundamental concept, like you look at like what is toxicity and what does it mean, the difference that they're talking about here is they have, like Star Wars fans who were like, we don't like these so many women being involved in the stories. Let's stop doing that. Or like, we don't want, there's too many people. It's forced diversity or whatever. Meanwhile, you've got Snyder fans who are like mad that so many people of color were cut. They're mad that Rick Famuyiwa didn't get to do his Flash movie about police brutality. And not only that, but they're mad that those things didn't get done. But also they're a customer base that were sold a product, and they were told, we're going to do these movies. They're going to be Zack Snyder movies. You're going to get Justice League 2 and 3. And then they marketed a Zack Snyder movie for Justice League up until the end. And then it wasn't. And then they said, oh no, that movie doesn't exist. It's like, the one that you sold us doesn't exist. Like, so you're openly admitting that you sold us a movie that now you're saying it doesn't exist. Not only that, but you're lying, because we know it exists. We have proof that it exists. And then they manipulate. They told journalists, no, it doesn't exist. So the journalists that told fans it doesn't exist. So fans went after journalists for saying, like, you're lying. Do your job. Look into this. Put some scrutiny into this. And the journalists are like, well, you're toxic. It's like, well, no, you're saying that fans are toxic because they're attacking you because you're repeating the lie that a studio told you. Like the studio is using. I don't know, maybe it's a little more extreme, like basically using the like certain journalists as like meat shields against the fans. And then like we get to where we are today and they say like, oh well, no, we can't do any more of this because the fans are mad. It's like, well, why do you?
It's like the big brother. It's like the big brother who tells the little brother, "Hey, go kick that anthill," and then the little brother gets shocked when the ants are crawling up their leg, or you kick the hornet's nest. What do you think is gonna happen? You're gonna have a bunch of mad as hell hornets.
And like, I mean, it'd be great if the hornets didn't do that, but like the brother told him to go kick it, and then he went and kicked it. Like, I don't know. It's such a weird, crazy mess. But I think then the fact that the results were so much better than they expected.
Oh yeah.
It's harder to sell the toxic fan narrative because there's so many people that are now getting grouped in that are like, but no, I liked the movie. I thought it was funny. I thought it was great. I want more of this. Why are you like? Yeah. I finally like this. Why are you pulling the plug on it?
Yeah, and it's not even just the diehard fans anymore. It's like the masses, so to speak, that are tweeting this out. So it's a different scenario.
Because they're like, why are you? I just finally am into this now. There's a number of people that are like, I never watched a single DC movie. Now I watched all of them and I want more. Like literally, Zack Snyder did more for DC than anyone but Christopher Nolan. That's the type of thing someone like mock me for if I put it on Twitter. But literally, the number of people who I see like, what comics can I read? What movie? Like, what other movies should I watch because of this movie?
God, the amount. I just need to have like a saved draft tweet of like, here's your reading list here, because my God, I get either people ask or I get tagged, and it's just like, do I have enough time today to do this?
Speaking of them, like knowing and being aware of the demand, I think that DC knows it too, because you saw the DC.com blog put out a how Ben Affleck redeemed Batman or something like that, and that is like an official blog. Now, of course, they have a disclaimer of like the opinions in this article are the writers and do not belong to DC Comics, but they're not going to greenlight an article that's like Batman should only be white ever. Like, their articles are all things that they ultimately are okay with the opinion being put out there, even if they're not pushing the opinion themselves. And so the fact that like that is not the type of thing that they were writing, but like since when did WB or DC ever say like, hey, Ben Affleck's Batman is great? Ever. Even after like they threw him under the bus the second BVS came out. And so the fact that DC Comics is doing that while Warner Brothers is like, nobody wants more Snyder, I think, and because DC is the one, they're seeing the merch sales, they're seeing the comic sales, and to them, that uptick is way more valuable. Like it's because comics aren't hard to sell.
You want because Matt needs to talk, but the one that I would the one that I want to see, and we'll see it in like a month or so. I want to see the unit sales on Justice League number 59.
Yeah,
because now
the variant covers,
variant covers, because they can also, because now the variants have different SKU numbers. Not only can you just look at how much issue 59 sold, you can technically even track how much the individual covers, like who bought the book with this particular variant cover on it.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Hey, Matt.
Look over here.
All right.
How you feeling about all this, man? First off, how many times have you watched the movie?
Watched what? Godzilla?
This little movie called
okay.
Yeah.
Terminator 2.
How many times?
I think I'm probably up to 4 or 5.
Okay.
Probably 6 if you count Justice is Gray.
You count all of it. Yeah.
No, I'm up. Yeah, I'm up there. I think the week it came out, I pretty much after the weekend and everything, I think I had it on the TV every time. Like I just come home, started up where I was. The only thing that kills me is like if it gets screwed up and the where you were before, man, 4 hours is a long thing to fast forward or rewind back to. I was like, man, you need a skip option like to bounce between some of these things.
HBO Max has a problem with the way that's all.
Yeah, they need to
you can't even start it over.
Well. Yeah, there's no start over button either.
Yeah, you can't, because sometimes like for our videos, I have to screen capture some stuff. So I was like, screen capturing stuff. So I end up moving where I was before, and now all of a sudden I'm at the end of the movie when I go to turn the TV on, and I'm like, damn it, where was I? And I have to go back. And anyway, yeah, first world problems. Anyway, but. The funniest thing for me, the irony of all this is that DC, for once, has got the hit that they've always wanted that is competing with Marvel, and now they don't want it. It's just so funny to me because
the craziest thing about that.
It's not only is it beating the numbers from like WandaVision, Winter Soldier, and Falcon, or Clarence as I call him. It's doing it. It's doing what, and also it's a very well-rounded movie that is grabbing that mainstream audience that they've always wanted. Not only did they have an epic, serious movie that's grabbed those fans, now it has the mainstream fans, the casuals as well, and it's beating Marvel.
What's next?
What's that?
And they're saying, I want to see what happens next. Like
Exactly.
the people who don't know that, like Ann Sarnoff, they don't know who Ann Sarnoff is, or the fact that she said we're not doing anymore. They like you look at the tweets and the people are like, "Oh man, that was crazy! I can't wait to see what happens." It's like bad news.
And what is WB doing? They're swiping left on Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm like, what the hell?
Just like, I don't understand why, like, because there's only one person that was around during like the 2017 Justice League. Like Toby's like the only one left, right? And like, why are these other people so like butthurt about this? I don't understand.
Because they come in, they get indoctrinated, they get told like this and that. They probably even saw from the outside what happened in 2016. You know, what the brand, what happened to the brand at the time between Batman vs Superman and Suicide Squad. They saw what happened, and they probably just, in case, they just don't want to revisit that. That's the only thing I've come up with. Is that
they were also hired.
Go ahead, Steven. I'm sorry.
Because he hasn't gotten a chance to talk.
Yeah.
I've been home alone with my kids all day, so I'm like. Well, I was just gonna say that like the non-Emmerich ones, like the Hamada and the Sarnoff, were literally hired when the strategic direction, the only plan they have had since 2017 is get away from Zack Snyder. Everything they've done has been defined by how do we get away from Zack Snyder, without getting rid of Momoa and Godot. Like, and that is the trap they're caught in, and they won't go back to him, but they can't get fully away from him without like cutting ties with some of their most popular actors. And so like Hamada literally was like, hey, make us a slate that gets us away from this. And Sarnoff is way above all that stuff, but I'm sure to some extent was shepherd us through this, like give this franchise life after Zack Snyder. And so for them if they were to say like, you know what, we're going to go back to Zack Snyder, would be literally contradictory to their job description, like the reason they were hired.
It's crazy to me with the DC fandom last year, multiverse.
That's
like,
what they keep on talking about.
If you're gonna do a multiverse, use it as a tool to create and not as something as a crutch for correction.
It's almost sounding like it's an excuse, like, oh well, multiverse, but they want this like interconnecting like Marvel like universe kind of
thing. Do that and just say like, Zach, you have a Elseworlds thing on HBO Max, like.
Right.
They don't even need to say.
They don't want that to be the popular one. That's the thing. They want like the main thing to be the popular thing. They don't want Snyder to be the popular thing. But right now, he's the fucking popular thing right now. That's what's so funny. That's
if you think about every DC movie that they have put out, other than Aquaman, pretty much since Justice League, I don't know, they have screwed up in some manner.
Yeah.
Aquaman made $1 billion, it did fine. But then you think about Shazam. Clearly should have been during Christmas, not wedged in between the fake Captain Marvel and Endgame.
Right.
It shouldn't have been wedged in there. It would have done a lot better if it had a better time. Obviously, what they did with the Joker, they pushed everything off on other people to finance it. They barely had a freaking marketing budget. They barely put any merchandise out for the Joker. It crushed. They totally screwed that pooch on that one. And then you see what happened with Wonder Woman 84. They're like, it kept getting pushed back, and now they end up releasing on HBO Max, which provides subscriptions. But then you kind of see how that movie turned out, and
nobody talked about it either. Nobody talked about Wonder Woman 84.
Not in a positive way.
I just had dinner with my best
and fuck
friend.
Birds of Prey. Sorry. Sorry, Scott. Go ahead. I just wanted to make sure that was established.
Scott's like,
don't do this to me. God!
So I was talking to my friend at dinner tonight, and he was asking me, so what about Wonder Woman 84? And he was asking for my reaction because he hadn't seen it yet. And he said, that's come out, right? I was like, yeah, it's come out. I really haven't heard anything about it. Yeah, it's really funny to just kind of sit back and go, wow, it's not just me.
Well, remember Wonder Woman 1 was that year's required viewing. Everyone was required to see it and have a reaction to it. In the same way that people have feel required to have a reaction to Justice League now.
Yeah, it's just weird when you look at it and you go, yeah, it just came and it went. And I talked to a lot of general audience, like my parents, friends of my parents, like my dad continues to be able to express his opinion of, yeah, Wonder Woman 84 wasn't that good. It's like when my dad just feels compelled to just randomly share that, like I'm over for my birthday dinner and he's like, yeah, that Wonder Woman 84, that just wasn't good. And I'm just sitting going, okay, Dad, I got the point. Thank you very much. While he comes over on March 18th to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he's sitting there like totally relaxed on my couch watching a 4-hour movie, and then he gets up, he goes, that was good. And I'm just there going, that's my dad.
What do you think of Birds of Prey?
He has it. Matt, seriously,
I want to know. I'm curious. I'm just asking you, Scott.
He is not. That movie is not something that would interest him.
Okay, all right.
That is not his style. That is not his style. Harley Quinn is not a character that he's that interested in, so it's just not his thing. So I haven't gotten him to watch it, nor does he choose to watch it. It's my dad. I know how my dad works, and so it's just like, yeah, just stay away. It's like my dad hasn't seen Joker. Because it's like I love Joker. My dad would have no interest. I still remember my dad was the one that when I finished watching Mask of the Phantasm for the first time, and I'm sitting there going, that movie was awesome. And my dad's one going, it was kind of depressing. I was like,
what's the point, Dad?
Trust me, even when I was just 12, it's like, you don't understand, Dad.
The struggle of Batman. Come on, Dad. God, Mask of the Phantasm. Love that movie. No, but yeah, when we were talking about like going back and watching movies after watching Zack Snyder's Justice League, I didn't even think about like going back and watching Birds of Prey. I immediately went back to, like I said, Aquaman, and it was kind of like I was saying before everybody showed up. It was kind of like, okay, this hits a little bit differently than it did before. I still like it, but I mean, it is a different tone. It definitely is a different tone. But at the same time, I'm going, James Wan still was trying to do something where, I mean, there's some fucking gorgeous shots and gorgeous sequences that happen in that movie, but there is a lot of, I didn't need that. I didn't need that joke.
It'll be really interesting to see how Wonder Woman 83 or Wonder Woman 83, Wonder Woman 3.
That's what we needed.
That's when I was born.
Adjust to Zack Snyder's Justice League, like how the action was approached in this movie versus, like, will they respond to the fact that people loved Wonder Woman in this movie, or will they just
or the Amazons? How can you have that Amazon, the two Amazon sequences, and then after that be like, no, we don't want to go that direction. Like, how can you have that Leslie Jones, we are warriors, like how can you have that like go viral and then be like, she just carries a shield and a whip or a lasso,
and the lasso gets blown in the wind, it goes like that. And she's just like,
Steven, you said this earlier. Steven, you said that, I mean, you feel like it's just a PR move, and that correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think, has Gal and Patty even said anything since they made that announcement? Because I don't remember them saying anything.
No,
they have not. Really.
And I've checked several times. Patty might have referenced it offhand once, but it was like it was brought up to her. She didn't bring it up, and her answer wasn't her answer wasn't committal. It was something along the lines of, they said, now you said you had a plan for the story already. What is that? And her answer was basically like, well, Jeff Johns and I had a story, but we're gonna
remember her saying that prior to the movie coming out.
Right.
But I just don't remember them saying anything since they announced it.
Don't worry, GC has a plan. Man.
Well, and I always wish I could find the tweet, but I remember one of the most educational kind of things that I ever read was a single tweet about whenever something is announced in the trades, you know that it's been like, I gave a timeline of like how it happens, and it's like months of like if a deal is announced in the trades, it was never agreed to like the day before. And so something like that, where if they ever say like, oh, due to the huge numbers, we're greenlighting Wonder Woman 3, it's like, no, that was signed already. Or she has a third movie in her contract already. Like she probably signed a sequel or a trilogy contract or something. And then or if they did any sort of negotiation, it was okay, if it crosses these numbers, then we'll whatever. But the fact that it was announced the day after is just as much proof that it was not reactionary.
Well, and I think like a lot of us were going, she's not going to do that one because she's going off and doing Star Wars. She's got Rogue Squad. She's going to be working on that for like 2.5, 3 years, whatever the fuck, And then all of a sudden it goes, oh yeah, they're right there, greenlit right after.
Yeah,
like,
she's doing Cleopatra with Gal.
Yeah,
right?
Cleopatra too. It just
Dice just called Scott's profile photo the white ice cube.
That's good.
Sorry, that's
from the rafters. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Ooh, no, but it is strange when it comes to all that, and like I said, we're sitting here waiting for the numbers. We're already like going to be like, we're going to be going in 3 weeks after this weekend. It's going to be 3 weeks. We don't have definitive numbers for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and as far as I could tell, not even the man himself is. He hasn't even received anything either.
It's not getting numbers tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah,
about how this movie did.
If they were bad,
exactly,
they would be out there. They would be out there already. Oh yeah, look at how bad these numbers are.
If they were mediocre, they'd be out there. One theory that I have about that, because the question for me is always like, once you start establishing any sort of conspiracy, we're talking about like dozens or hundreds of people within multiple corporations that have the answer to this question. And not that these numbers are necessarily going to like leak through like back channels or anything, but the decision to avoid having any first party numbers revealed is not like a single person with their finger on a button refusing to release it. It's not like Ann Sarnoff has a paper folder on her desk that says numbers and she's got them like hidden or something, right? Like there are discussions being had about this. And HBO Max's best interest is to hype up the numbers, provided they're good, or at least package them in a way that looks good if they don't look good. Because as I was talking about earlier, the behind the scenes stuff like box office is just as much marketing now as ever. So like to say, hey, our movie broke box office records or whatever, is just as significant as a good trailer or whatever. And so it is counter to HBO Max's best interest to hold back on the numbers. So you've got to imagine internally somebody is advocating for the release of them. And so if they're not being released yet, there is some interest in them not being so. There's no way that they're so bad that they wouldn't be released, because if it was like, oh, it came in second to Wonder Woman, well, fine, let's release that and say like that's, it is what it is. Like what some of the third party data said. But if there is the one thing that I'm trying to like, how would this be argued from a like, why would you hold them? One of the arguments I can see is, well, those numbers aren't representative. It's a highly passionate fan base, and so it's going to be front loaded. We don't want to give everyone the impression that this is the #1 movie ever, because since the fan base is so small, the hype is so specific, it'll fall off after a month. So let's report the 1 month numbers instead of the 1 week numbers, because that'll be a better picture. It'll all balance out at that point.
Well,
I don't think that's going to pan out.
Meanwhile, I'm on my 14th viewing, and I'll probably be up to like 28 by then.
Exactly. Well, and a lot of people, a casual audience, are rewatching it too multiple times, and it's 4 hours long. So if they're going to report the minutes watched, I mean, it's gonna blow. Wonder Woman was like 2.5 billion minutes watched or something like that, I think. It's got to at least double that, I think, if not more, because it's the legs, the digital legs, whatever that is on streaming, is way better than Wonder Woman.
Well, I think it goes back to the IMDb thing. It's still number one.
Well, the thing here for me is that because of where this is ending, it actually lines up pretty well, because we're ending there. It's at the end of the quarter one. So they got at least 3 weeks before they have to do, their quarterly earnings and stuff like that for investors, which then eventually become public. So they got 3 weeks to figure out what they're going to do with these numbers, because those numbers, I mean, I just looked it up. For the quarter four for last year, it was about January 27th. So about 3 weeks ish, a little bit more than that, before they eventually all those numbers started becoming public. How much revenue it gained, all this, and all those analytics. So they got to figure out what they're going to do here. They got about 3 weeks before they figure it out. Are they just going to bite the bullet and give us the numbers early? Or are they just going to just wait and hopefully that the numbers will just get thrown under the bus, or not under the bus, but under the couch, in 3 weeks? Like no one's going to pay attention. Like here they are, buy, now you see it, now you don't.
They've got a stockholders meeting coming up too, where there's going to be people asking. And I
was going to say, somebody's got to ask the question, right?
Stockholders can ask. I mean, if you have stock, if you have AT&T stock, you can ask, why aren't you pursuing such a lucrative franchise? As anybody who's invested in the company, the stockholders are going to be like, why? Like, this is valuable, and you're saying not only are you like not going to pursue it, but you're like actively sabotaging it in the works. Can you explain why? And I think there's going to be more than one person asking that. Now, of course, they don't answer every single question, but I imagine they're going to get a few of those. And like I said, if you own AT&T stock, make sure you ask that, because it's insane. And that's in just like a few weeks here, I think, coming up. So I don't know how you.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. I actually have a share in AT&T, and I'm trying to figure out if I can actually take part in that. And if anybody else has any kind of stocks, hit me up. Let's try to figure something out so we can actually ask and be like, hey, you got this product right here. This is hot. This is super, again, Brad Paisley, it out, restore.
White hot.
That's how hot it is.
He's gonna make a country song about that bad boy, man.
I always wonder with stuff like that. Like, does he have a social media manager? And was he like, "Hey man, I really like that movie. Make sure you tweet about it." Or does he not? I don't know. There's a lot of those guys like they're not even on Twitter, and they just have someone manage it. And so they're like, is his social media manager like an intern who is just a huge fan? And they're like, he's never going to know. I've got a 1.4 million.
Does he have kids who type it in there and tweet it?
Yeah. Or does he manage his own? Like, I'm really curious.
It was literally just the hashtag. That was it.
Yeah.
Man.
What is, as far as you guys, your temperature on like Snyder's perspective, as far as like, obviously he's like very calculated in terms of what he posts on Vero lately, as far as like, Billy Crudup stops, he's not going to be in the Flash. He tweets a picture of Billy Crudup in Justice League when he's watching Justice League. He tweets the New Gods thing gets nixed. He tweets a picture of Granny Goodness. There's the Green Lantern stuff that he tweeted or posted on Vero. There's, and then the Joker clip today. Like, what do you guys think as far as like, I know that Dave, you obviously you have his phone number, so you may have even asked him, but like what?
I didn't know that. Dave's never mentioned that.
Yeah.
I keep that on the low. Yeah. Well, gentlemen.
I mean, I'll go, but
now Colbert's speechless. All right.
I was actually trying to not jump in on that one, but I have an opinion on it if anyone wants to hear it.
Yes, please.
Other breaking news.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
I think he's in DGAF mode a little bit. He knows that he's got in I think a very good way. He's got a movie that is highly popular and well liked, and there is demand for it from more than just his fan base. He's got multiple franchises budding at Netflix, with possibly more in the future. He's got Army of the Dead coming out soon, which by all accounts seems to be, people really reacted well to that first trailer, and it's going to be, it's one of Netflix's like biggest, budget movies, and it's Zack Snyder and zombies in Vegas. Like, it's just that's the like tailor made to blow up on Netflix. He's been trending on Twitter he's the number one celebrity period on IMDb right now. For a director, that's huge.
Yeah. Get that. Unless it's George Lucas, really, or Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, exactly. And the word Snyder, speaking of Google Analytics, the word Snyder is at its all-time high Google popularity right now. And so either he doesn't get his franchise, or he doesn't get any more with WB, and he burns things down on his way out, or he gets more stuff. He's fine either way. Why not? Like, why? He has no incentive to not talk about this stuff. He's got no incentive to not like drag that, like, after what they did to him. And now people know also he's got all the sympathy in the world. Everyone watches the reactions people have to this, even the people that don't like it. People are like, not a fan of this movie, but man, they did him dirty. And so he's got all the benefit of the doubt, for the most part. And people are excited about what he's got coming next. And so there's demand for him to be teasing stuff. But also he's not doing it in a at least outwardly vindictive way. Like, people are excited to see his granny goodness, and people were even saying like they were excited about the new Ava's New Gods movie because of the fourth world stuff in Zack Snyder's Justice League. So for him to tease this stuff isn't like some sort of like petty, like, ha ha ha, I got you canceled. It's like, it's trending. He's in the center of like the entertainment zeitgeist right now. So I think he would, I think he's made it clear that like he would like to do more if the stars align, but he doesn't expect the stars to align, and he's going to be fine if they don't. He said Army of the Dead was the most fun movie he's ever made. Like, he had the best time making it out of any movie he's ever made. So like, why would he be scared or worried about doing more of that? So he's going to be totally fine. And he gets to just like consequence free, air his creative vision for the world on his way out the door, and either make WB look stupid and himself look good by people being like, yeah, why didn't you do more of that? Or just he'll burn that bridge entirely, and who cares, because they screwed him. Like, he doesn't owe them anything.
I just think of David. I think of like the David Caruso walking away from the explosion from like CSI Miami shot. Like, there's a drop. It really is, because I get so conflicted when it comes to this, because do I want to see Justice League 2 and 3? Hell yes. Who wouldn't want to see that put on screen? But then I think of, but who wants to put up with WB anymore? And it's like, he's got his Fountainhead series. He's got the King Arthur movies, talked about the sci-fi movie that Deborah was talking about. It's like, dude, and then of course, Horse Latitudes being the next thing that's coming up. It's like, as much as people want to give, some of us crap, it's like, you do realize that he stops doing DC stuff. I keep watching his movies.
Yeah.
What, like, you do realize that I'm a fan of his work. So I'm going to watch whatever he does, wherever he does it. And I will follow him as a filmmaker. So if he stops doing DC movies, cool. I'll watch his other movies, because I just like movies. And I want to watch his movies in particular. And part of me would hope for him that he can sort of just light the match with the gasoline tank, walking behind him and like just go and go off and do these original works, stop adapting stuff and just go and do ideas that he and Deborah have developed on their own, because that would be cool. And when we get to Army of the Dead, we'll get to see that. But before then, we've only had Sucker Punch to be like a truly original Zack Snyder work. And even then, I would love for whatever. I mean, that's the one thing is like, okay, don't screw WB over too hard, because like I still want to see your director's cut. Like it's like Sucker Punch is now like the one sitting out there going, your time.
Release the Snyder Punch.
Exactly.
No, yeah. I'm totally what you guys are saying too. And yeah. I mean, when it comes to him continuing, it's like, yeah, I mean, I think he really loves to do this stuff. That's why when it came to doing that additional photography, he was like, hey, I've had this idea for the last 3 years. I want to, let's do it. And if it does continue and maybe, okay, yeah, he's got the Army of the Dead franchise, and maybe there's another franchise that's also going to be in the works too. That's going to be, so he's going to be busy. So
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
What are you?
What
are you getting at?
I'm just saying there's, that sci-fi, you mentioned the sci-fi thing. I mean, I'm just saying that could be a whole other thing that he's going to have to, tackle. So, but
I'm not speaking riddles, guys. Just come on up. Say what you mean.
Exactly.
That's cute. I remember when I had my first beer.
Yeah.
As we talk about the gasoline thing, I just picture Con Air with John Malkovich when he's like, Sayonara, and he just chucks thing in there. That's how I picture it. That's how I picture this whole thing's going to go.
Well, I think that's
my insight. You're welcome.
I think like right now, that's what he's kind of doing. He's just like, hey, you guys didn't like my ideas. I mean, now I'm going to expose all of this right now. And there's still more that's going to be coming along. There is. I mean, if you thought like, it's going to wind down, no, there's still going to be more stuff that's going to be coming about. I mean, we just saw like a little concept art of Green Lantern, and God knows what he's going to have in store for just, hey, yeah, they didn't want me to do that. And guess what? I did do that. He's already said it.
Keeps dangling it.
There's a lot of people that haven't talked on it yet. Also, like you look at like the next Affleck, Godot, Momoa, whoever press tour, the next movie Chris Terrio does or whatever. There's a lot of people who haven't talked yet, who they're all going to get asked. I mean, they were asked about it like leading up to the Snyder Cut. When they started going around, people would ask, like for, Wonder Woman 1984 or whatever, they'd ask Godot, like, have you seen it or whatever. But now after the fact, the questions are all going to be like, what about Joss Whedon? What about Jeff Johns? What about like all this other, Affleck was an executive producer. They're going to be like, what, were you involved in Ray Fisher's investigation? Like these things are all going to be questions that people ask, especially because the movie was so good. And because the movie was so good, they're going to have the confidence to answer it more so than like, if it had come out and like hadn't been as big of a splash as it was, they'd be like, let's leave it in the, like they do the Henry Cavill of like, I'm more concerned about the future of Superman. Whereas like, who knows? Right. The way that like Danny Garcia works, she's going to tell him focus on the future. But like, if they want him to get that Superman movie now, he might say like, yeah, you know what? It was really unfortunate that leadership, like whatever at the time, like he's like, they play that political game, and he has the clout now needed to throw some shade that he wouldn't have thrown before. That goes for the entire cast and crew. That has the fact that the press junket for this was so small means there's a lot of people who haven't spoken up, and those that did said a lot. So, this is going to be an ongoing story for a long time, and it's going to be egg on a lot of people's faces that still hasn't come out yet.
That's what's amazing.
Yeah. Sorry. Now I was just going to say one thing, like, no,
yeah, Dave, let someone else talk for once.
I know. I was just going to say that, there's been no like real big push except for like from Ray Fisher and maybe Jared Leto. That's about it. And then, Joe Manganiello. That's the only people that have been pushing this. The main cast really have not, because in their contracts they already did push it back in 2017 and they did their press, and they probably can't do it now. But the fact that there's been no push from the main actors and it's still getting this big huge buzz, it's pretty crazy. Sorry. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, it's what you're saying essentially. That like this is so fan driven.
Yeah.
It's so fan driven. There's some dollars behind it with HBO Max and whatnot, but like, I mean, just look at like the thing with Warner. Like, if you use Warner Brothers assets in regards to like promotion, there's very little fingers that have to be lifted. It's just dollars, and it does so much. Look at Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah.
The money you put into it versus the effort you put into it. It's just wild what the fandom and Verifieds and Ray Fisher and Manganiello have been able to accomplish. Just imagine what that looks like amplified with cast, with Warner Brothers, like with a new movie. Again, like I said earlier, it's a re-release to general audiences.
No. I know, it's crazy. Like I think we were all kind of hoping like, I mean, I know Gal, like when the last trailer came out or when it came out, she showed some support. She put her like in like her IG stories, cool. And then Cavill showed a lot more support. He posted on IG and showed some behind the scenes shots and said, "Congratulations, Zach," and blah blah blah. But some of the others just like, especially Momoa. Momoa was always so heavily pushing for it, and then he really didn't say much. You notice that? Like, he really didn't say much after it came out. Like, he was one of the people that was supporting the absolute shit out of it during interviews and all kinds of stuff.
You think he got hushed?
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, he just like it's almost like they gagged him. Like, you can't, if you want your Aquaman sequel or if you want this, that, and this, don't even talk about this movie. That to me seemed odd. I mean, there's literally a video where he gifted Zack Snyder a camera, and I mean, you look at Jason Momoa in that video. He looks like a little kid, just like I'm giving my father like something like a precious gift. I mean, he was giddy giving him this gift. I mean, he has such respect for Zack Snyder, but yet nothing.
A video where he may have broken his phone at the end, where he was like jacked up about it being released.
Yes. And then all of a sudden it's just like, now it's released. There's been really nothing from him. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Dune's on its way out. So maybe
that's true. Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, like I said, he's going to get questions when he does press for that. People are going to ask.
Unless they tell them they can't. I mean, that's a thing, right? They can tell them we're not taking any questions, or is that
man, it's hard in this business sometimes. You just don't know what you can say, and fuck yeah, I want to see it. I think what's going to be really interesting now is that like he's going to get asked about the differences between the Snyder Cut and Aquaman, and like why, if those movies were supposed to come out right after each other, why was that different? Who, like, clearly Zach's was in the works first. So they were they consciously going after him, or was that a decision made after Zach left? Like, how did those incongruencies develop?
Yeah. Such a tangled web that they've weaved. It's just wild.
Yeah, and it's shocking to me that they like think they can get out of it. Like, I just don't see old Hollywood, old media, like pre-social. Like, this is a very containable narrative. In like 5-10 years ago, but not anymore. And it seems like the only people that don't realize that is WB.
Yeah, the people in charge.
They're playing they're still playing with the old playbook, and it's not going to work. And that's me not speaking like as a fan who like disagrees with them. That's me like, if they were to hire me to be like, hey, how do we fix this? And the option of giving Zach more movies is off the table. The option of appeasing fans is off the table. I'd be like, okay. And then I would tell them, like, none of what they're doing is what I would have them do. I'd say, just don't say anything. Like, literally, like, do what you did in 2018, other than the other than the Wall Street Journal article where you positioned, because remember at first fans were like, please, Warner Brothers, you gave us other Zack director's cuts. We have faith in you that you're going to deliver on this. We know that you were in a bad spot because of everything that happened with Zack. And then they came out with the Wall Street Journal thing, and from that point on, fans were like, oh, that's how we're playing this. Fine. It didn't have to be that way, and it became that way. Like literally, if they just said nothing ever, this probably would have been over. If they just never once acknowledged it, and then Aquaman came out. I don't know.
Now, another weird thing too is another thing that they have to consider is, I mean, when this thing came out, I think everybody kind of thought, okay, that's done. That's in the past. And even like the Snyders probably thought that for a moment too, even though Zack was like, hey, I do have my cut. Hey. And then all of a sudden it came out. Now there's like this buzz about it. And everybody, I think one of the hardest factors, even if Warner Brothers decides to go, hey, okay, we want to do more. Let's restore the Snyderverse. It's like, okay, now you got to get everybody back together. That's going to be one of the hardest things, I think, is like try to round up the whole entire cast and then try to grow the cast too, because you're going to have more players in the cast. But I think like now that you have Momoa, who is doing a bunch of shit, he's got Aquaman 2. You got Godot. She's a superstar now. She's going to be doing she's supposedly going to be doing Cleopatra. She's pregnant right now, but of course it wouldn't be for like another 2 years or whatever. And then Wonder Woman 3. I mean, there's a lot of factors where it's like, how do you try to round up everybody and try to do like some sequels? That's gonna be
if we're talking nightmare timeline for movie 2, it's like a lot of those players are the ones that it's not Momoa, it's not Gal. It'd be Affleck, it'd be Amber Heard, it'd be Ezra. And all these people. I mean, the only like major A-lister in there would be Affleck, in my opinion.
Probably Leto.
And Leto, but Leto's been very vocal about wanting to work with Zack.
Sure.
So
yeah,
I just feel like
explore that. Yeah, I mean, he's been very vocal, but he wants to explore more of the Joker. I think he really likes playing the character because it's so.
Yeah,
and I even said it tonight, like when I did my video. I mean, just that little smile that he gives. I mean, that's the creepiest fucking live action Joker smile you've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, the fact that when he does that little with the it's so.
I love it in that context of that clip too. Yeah. Like in context of that clip that was shared today, it works a lot better than what's in the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. See, I disagree with you on that, but continue.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Scott's so argumentative.
Elaborate.
I'm just pointing out the fact that Brandon stated that quite like an objective fact. I'm like, no. Let's back that truck up. Okay, I'm willing to hear what you have to say, but don't go and like wave that around like it's like a royal pronouncement, sir.
It is clearly better than
maybe I didn't. I thought I said, and for me, it did work better for me. But
so you are correct, sir.
So Scott, you didn't like the added dialogue or what?
It's not that I didn't like it. I'm just saying if we're talking about preferences, I much prefer the reaction that Jared Leto gives in the released version of the kind of the fuck me. Like, I love the idea of Batman going there and Joker being like, what the hell? Like, I like the Joker actually being taken aback by where Batman goes. And then trying to play it off by going, oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. You almost had me. Like I like that interchange between the characters.
I think that I don't know if I want to disagree with you that was his reaction, but I think that there is a question as to whether or not that is an authentic reaction from him, because Batman takes the card and then it shows like the gloved hand, and then it just like it is a very performative handshake. So I felt like there was almost a little bit of Joker being like, "Oh man, you scared me, Batman." Like,
yeah, that's the vibe that I got from it.
But there's the question of like, is he doing that to cover up actually being intimidated? Like,
sure.
But I think
this conversation
is
exactly why I want to see more of Jared Leto's Joker in this setting.
Well,
like,
can you imagine?
This is what I want.
Can you imagine the sequel when they talk about when they're at a table, like a Last Supper kind of table, and you're talking about the perspectives?
The Rashomon effect. Yes.
With Robin's death, can you imagine how fucking amazing that would be? Like after what we saw here in this epilogue, can you imagine just like a whole scene where we're actually going to like dive deep into Robin's death and we're going to see the perspectives of both Batman and Joker. I mean, my God, come on,
seriously.
Jesus. I mean, that's gonna. I mean, I've said it like the epilogue. You know, the nightmare scene with Batman and with Batfleck and Leto. It's like that's almost up there with Dark Knight and that interrogation scene. I mean, you know, it's just it's up there, man. Just the exchange and everything. But if they were to have that sequel where they had more scenes together, it would probably blow that out of the water. Well, I mean, Jesus Christ.
He said something interesting in one of the explanations that he gave for that Rashomon scene also, where just the idea of it, that Rashomon meaning Joker and Batman have a slightly different version of the story that they tell at the same time. But he said something about like using flashback images or the phrasing that he used specifically made it sound very almost like you have Batman and Joker as competing unreliable narrators, like dual unreliable narrators over a Watchmen style opening credits version of Robin's death, where it's like not an actual live action, like a very surreal, maybe like photo, like a what do you call it? Like a parallax effect characters over background. Like, I don't know. I at least that's what comes to my mind when he explains it that way.
Think about it like this, like Daniel's son and and Johnny. It's their perspectives of how it went down back in the 80s between them and Annie.
True.
There we go. Thank you. I brought it home for you, Stephen.
Thank you.
That's perfect.
Speaking of which, Rashomon is on HBO Max. So if you guys have not seen Rashomon, seriously, go check it out. I mean, it's a great movie.
But I mean, just imagine. I mean, that's. I mean,
this is the point in the conversation where you just like start getting like seething mad. Like, how are we even having this? Like, how is this not a thing?
Yeah, how have they not like already? I mean, I've said it before, and many times I went down a whole wasteland post-apocalyptic, on a weekend I watched Fury Road and Book of Eli, and I went, okay, why can't we? Both these movies are fucking unique and they're great. They're fantastic. Why can't we explore this world with DC characters? And that's what Snyder was trying to show. It's like, hey, yeah, there's like this whole nightmare timeline where it's a post-apocalyptic and like there's only certain survivors and it's a wasteland, and we got Batman, we got teaming up with Joker and Deathstroke. I mean,
so different from anything you've ever seen.
And here's what's crazy about this whole thing also is this is the most extreme example of this yet, in like where it's almost doesn't even count to compare them, but the long line of carnage that and the WB has left in its wake on the DC front. Of before this movie, we were having these similar conversations about like Justice League Mortal and like, oh man, we were gonna see X, all these things, or Green Arrow Supermax, or I don't know. Scott's probably got a whole list of them too, but like all of these, the Darren Aronofsky Batman, and all of these like really cool sounding, like crazy DC movie ideas that like got some level of production done on them. The Batman versus Superman movie that they almost did in the like around the time of the Dark Knight trilogy. And
with a billboard in I Am Legend.
Yeah, exactly. Not that they all necessarily would have been good, but there have always been conversations about, imagine if they had made that. This sounded so cool. And now we're having that again, and it's never going to go away. I mean, if this never happens, like it's going to be big either way, but like even if it never happens, people are never going to stop talking about that nightmare movie that never happened. Like it's going to be 20 years from now and people are going to be like, man, like you're going to be telling your kids, you're going to be like, hey, they're going to see Justice League and they're like, wow, whatever happened? It's like, well, let me tell you the story about why we don't have a nightmare movie. Like, here's why there's no sequel to Justice League. Like that.
Pull out a guitar.
That's gonna be that's gonna be the content that like all the movie blogs are rating in 20 years.
We're gonna be around a fire. I put on my broken like fucking.
Yeah, why there's the Wikipedia page is gonna be why there was never a Justice League sequel. Like it's gonna be in the same way that like I don't know, what are the other unfinished franchises? There's not many of them that are big enough for people to care. Like nobody's like, why was there never a movie or a sequel to that Tom Cruise Mummy? I was really curious to see about what happened with Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Like,
man, I wanted that to be so successful. I mean, sorry, you just brought back like an open wound right there. I really did. I mean that plane crash sequence in The Mummy, I thought that was pretty damn brilliant. I thought that was fucking awesome. I don't know. But then it just kind of just went to like, oh, this is just another Tom Cruise action flick where he's running from something. And of course he's running from, a plague kind of thing. And I see what they were trying to do, but they had so much opportunity to like, hey, you can make this scary. You really could. And it just was just goofy with what's his name being like the zombie that was like haunting him in the bathroom, like talking to him and like, hey man, like, I that's where you just lost me. I mean, well, who's that actor that who was in the New Girl in Jurassic World? I forgot his name. Somebody's in the chat's gonna say it.
Is it Jake Johnson?
Yes, I think that's
Well, because he was the voice of Peter Parker in Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's great. But they made him in that movie to be like, it was like his buddy who died. And then all of a sudden he was like this, haunting him as a zombie for some supernatural thing. And it was just, it just totally ruined it for me. I don't know. We went off on a whole tangent here, but yeah.
Here's the other crazy thing.
I want to go back to Brandon though, because I totally interrupted him because I was hoping to like poke the bear because I wanted the argument. And he's too damn Southern. And he's so nice. I know how this goes.
Oh, I can do it. We are good about.
So what?
But no, I want to go back to Brandon because
I was just saying.
No,
I was just saying from my perspective, I thought because you can tell in that clip, you can tell that they cut his reaction and inserted it into the actual version that we got. Like you can see that because the background is just the green screen background, and then it switches to the movie. And so I'm just saying that it just flows. Like you can tell that was his reaction for that scene, and they inserted it into the theatrical. And for me, it just works better as a reaction to the clip that we got today.
And you are correct, sir.
That's 2 against 1.
It's not about being popular. It's not about being popular. That's how we got where we are today. So, I'm just saying. Sometimes it's good to push against the grain.
Release the numbers on the Vodka stream, damn it.
No, I mean, it is interesting to see like that reaction as opposed to the other reaction where it's where he does that handshake thing, and like you said, Steven, is that performative? And he just kind of goes, you almost got me there. I am kind of torn a little bit, and I also find it kind of interesting too how like when you see that added dialogue that the background just turns dark because they didn't put the green screen in. That was kind of interesting to me, but it also added to it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, like there was something about it when it got dark and then it just lights up.
Well, I like it like they were like entering, like just paying attention to them too, and blocking everything else out.
I liked it because like, that's what a Snyder cut looked like for that's the version that because I keep on saying on Twitter like I wish that I could see that version, and so seeing this version in black and white is a great example of like why it was in black and white at all, because that would have been a green screen juxtaposed in the middle of the actual background and the other shots, and so making it black and white, you almost I had to watch it. That was the second time through before I was like, oh wait, that's why that's weird, because it's not even the sun. That's a light that they've got there. And so like that's why everything we saw is black and white, is because otherwise it was hiding all the smoothing all that out.
What I think sucks though is that they're not including it on the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I'm like just chalk that up onto another long list of what the hell.
They're not including the Justice is Gray on the Blu-ray.
No, that scene, like that is. I mean, Snyder released that clip because that's literally the only way we're ever going to be able to see that alternate take.
Yeah, exactly. And
he replied to a comment saying basically that the DVD people didn't want it.
I know there's so much of that, which is like just so frustrating.
Well, I'm not a DVD person anyway. I'm a Blu-ray person, so maybe it'll be on the Blu-ray.
So you're good. You're good. No, but even like part of the dialogue that a lot of people were, I mean, at first we're going, okay, when Joker says, who screamed more, the girl, the boy, and a lot of people went, whoa, is he talking about Barbara? And I even for a minute there, I was like, is he talking about Barbara or is he talking about Carrie? Is he talking about what? But he was just talking about Harley, of course. But
I felt weird because everybody was bringing up. I almost felt like I was stupid because I thought it was Harley right off the bat.
That's how I was.
And then everybody starts bringing up all these other possibilities. I'm like, man, I must be I must be stupid because I didn't even think about that. I thought it was Harley, and I thought it was.
Yeah, at first I didn't take a think. Oh yeah, he's talking about Harley, but then all of a sudden everybody's going like, "Oh, is he talking about Barbara?" Wait,
and then I went shocked that this fandom took a left turn with its theories.
Yes, I am. Steve. I know everybody started going like, and I started questioning myself. I'm like, oh, maybe he's.
I mean, these are the same people that think that that Batman's trench coat and the Nightmare is Jim Gordon's.
I still want to
spoiler.
Shut up.
It's not.
Or the hologram was Supergirl.
Oh goddamn!
I'll take the L on that one.
Or let's hope you're not too late with
Jenna
Green
Malone
Lantern.
Was Batgirl. Jenna Malone was Batgirl, and she was Carrie Kelly, and she was.
Yeah.
Who else was Jenna Malone supposed to be?
Right. I know there's so many different things, but when people started talking about it, I went, is that the case? But no, he clarified it. And it makes sense in the context of the fucking dialogue.
To your credit too, we're talking about that Joker sequence. I love the dream lens and that shot that he put up on Vero of him he was just up like right on Leto's
on
fucking, well, and that rack
I was waiting for that scene. Yeah,
the fact that I've never seen that. Like, what other lenses can do that? Where like
literally
you're in his face and I don't know. I don't know of another lens that can do that.
The like foreground flickering you get in the lens flares is just last time I watched it, I was watching the Justice Gray version, and that's all I was watching in that sequence was the lens, the foreground lens flares, how they were rotating and stuff. So when he put that
movie
up
that he shot entirely with that lens,
right? Yeah. When he put that up on that photo up on Vero, I was just like, I cannot wait to see what this actually turns out to be, and so I love that.
And going back to our merchandising conversation, the same poster people who made the real poster and the logo poster have released 3 Joker posters. And now you can also go onto Hot Topic and they have a whole array of just Joker from that nightmare sequence t-shirts. I'm sitting they got the card, they got the "We Live in a Society." It's all shots from the nightmare scene. It's I love how it's just this thing churns out merchandise. And that's the thing. The merchandise, this is new merchandise. It just came out. They're still pushing out new merchandise because they're damn it, people are gonna buy this stuff.
But have you noticed that we have Martian Manhunter shirts, we have Deathstroke shirts, we have everybody Joker shirts? Is there any Joker shirts?
That's what he was just saying. Hot Topics got him.
Oh, Hot Topics got him.
Yeah, that's what Scott just.
I know. I totally just like just being part of that. Not having. Jeez, there it is. No, but I'm like, why are those not in the DC shop? Like I know I should take another drink. No, but like,
do
why
you
aren't
really,
those...
Dave?
I know, no. But why aren't those in the DC shop?
Well, what I want to know is why they don't have any Joker shirts, though.
Yeah, exactly.
This is going to be a meme, and I'm.
No, but like
it's so funny because Hot Topic went all in on the Birds of Prey merch, and
yeah, they did.
The shelves were completely stocked all the time. Whenever I would go into the mall, I'm a mall walker at work, so I would go hop into Hot Topic, and it's always full shelves.
How triggered people get by Hot Topic too. Like I don't like Hot Topic. I don't know if I've ever purchased anything from Hot Topic. I usually, if I'm at the mall, I'll like walk through like people watching, or like to be like, I wonder what they got in there now. But it's like not my thing. But like when Leto's Joker originally came out, I remember that was like the buzzword of like, it's the Hot Topic Joker or whatever, as if that's like inherently an insult. Where it's like, oh, clearly, so there's a brand or like a franchise that clearly has customer support because it exists and has existed forever to be like enough, like it's enough of a brand that Joker comes out and you would say he's the Hot Topic Joker. Like that tells you how like secure their like demographic is. And so it's hilarious. That's like, of course, it's also Joker. Like what are you supposed to be like? Oh, that's the Nordstrom's Joker. Like what?
The Forever 21.
Yeah. Like what? Yeah. That's the Buckle Joker. And although that would be like the Frank Miller Joker is like almost Buckle Joker, right? But yeah. So it's always been funny to me that people would like throw that as an insult, where it's like, oh, so you mean like the Joker fan base likes this Joker? I don't know.
They've got
like a hilarious.
They do have Joker.
Yeah, they got the truth. They got the truce Bruce. A truce Bruce.
I love that line.
In the I'm totally buying the shirt.
All kinds of stuff.
I'm
like
totally buying
multi-pages of stuff.
Okay, throw it up, Dave. Which shirt
Scott.
are you?
Right here, right here.
I did.
Like, let me get my credit card real quick.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't.
Scott is sweating.
I knew it wasn't. Look right there. Right there. I knew it. Look right there. They got the truce Bruce right there.
Speaking of that depth of field.
That's on the DC shop.
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. The DC shop didn't feel like they had any Joker stuff in there.
You see all the other ones they've got? They've got like
they got more now.
All kinds of stuff in there.
Holy crap. Look at this. I mean, they got Suicide Squad stuff. They got this. Look at this right. Wow, that's just Batman and Joker. Yeah.
They've got a hashtag Snyder cut Joker shirt. They've got tank tops, sweatshirts.
They even got the Joker shirt that has hashtag Snyder cut on it.
Yep.
They got these pins. Look at yeah.
DC. Oh yeah, that's the DC. Okay, I was gonna say DC shop has those because this is the DC shop.
Exactly.
Wow, you guys are doing great.
There you go. That's the.
they also got they do
hashtag one.
Yeah, hashtag Snyder cut right there. So.
Wow. So wait. So okay. So it is April. It's now April 3rd. Where in my time zone.
That's a month or half a month after the movie comes out.
April 3rd, 2021. Reporting back to Steven on November 17th, 2017. I am looking at a hashtag Snyder cut shirt with Jared Leto's Joker on it in the official DC shop.
Right? It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. Man.
Imagine when there's a hashtag Restore the Snyderverse shirt in the official DC shop.
and that's all they meant. That's all they do. They don't mention it anywhere else.
I'm waiting for the Harley Quinn show to come out now with their hashtag restore the Snyderverse guy.
Yeah.
I want that guy now.
I'm still waiting for some follow up now that like it's been released. It's like please do something with it, because that show can get away with it, and I'm there for it.
And I'm hopeful also that like because the creators got so much positive play with. I mean, I know people that were like DMing with them, and like bought it. Like I know they bought the shirts, the AFSP, the Ink to the People shirts, and so I'm really curious on if they like give the character like if their interactions with fans will influence the way the character is presented.
Yeah.
I wonder.
Somebody needs to do something with it. Please.
Well, what the Simpsons already had the unreleased the Snyder cut.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jack even posted about that. Like, yeah. Even in context, look at it. It's right there. What was like the banner where those people were at or something like that? It was like
the troll. It's like the troll zone or something.
Yeah.
Well, which is hilarious because the people who thought they were the majority, who were like so comfortable like throwing their stones and like being condescending before, like those are the unreleased the Snyder cut people. And so it's like funny to kind of be in this position now where like the Simpsons is like, oh yeah, those are the actual trolls are the ones that are like unreleased the Snyder cut.
Dude, I'm still getting that shirt. A truce, Bruce. Come on, that was the best line. That was one of the best lines. You were just like a truce, Bruce. You know, God damn it. Sorry,
That feels like an improv.
See,
I would do that if I was delivering that line. Like I wouldn't be like I can't say truce now without following it up with Bruce like in conversation.
Nah, I mean that's what was so great about that whole scene right there. I mean, I would say I would say my favorite scene. I mean, going around. I was actually going to ask Brandon and Ryan. Brandon, what's your favorite scene in Zack Snyder's Justice League?
Whew. Oh
yeah,
man,
no, it's difficult. Yeah, dig deep. Come on.
I don't know. I mean, I love that. I love that sequence. I don't know. I think. Gosh, I don't know, Dave. Jeez, put me on the spot here.
That's what I do.
I think the scene that I like, the scene that like gets me going as far as this movie is concerned, the one that I'm like, man, that was an awesome sequence, is like when the Steppenwolf versus the Amazonians, like when he has all the arrows in him and he does that gorilla flex and breaks them off. Like that sequence, just like I just adore that sequence so much. But I mean, there's other things that I would call out that I love. But yeah, I mean, first thing that comes to mind is like I always looked at that scene as like such a cool little moment in this movie.
The little details about his armor. I mean, his armor is reactive, and the fact that he could just flex and just like breaks all the arrows off of him. I mean, that's just badass.
The whole his introduction there, the VFX artist talked about how they had him hit the axe into the ground was like one of his like they'd have him emote that way. That was always his like, all right, enough of this shit expression. Mm-hmm. And so the way that they incorporated all of that, like once you start hearing them talk about like the visual language that they would use to like communicate his emotions with like the flexing of the armor and stuff. Because you see there, he gets all the arrows with the ropes and they start pulling him, and then he's like, hit the axe down. So that's his like, fuck it, I'm done with this moment. And then he flips the horse, he yanks the rope on the one and throws the horse, and then he grabs the other one from the belly and throws it. And then he breaks the arrows. Like it's just the perfect sequence of like, oh, this guy means business. Yeah. Can you imagine the other imagine like swapping out the CGI model with the other one? Like,
no.
Flipping the horse, be like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah. Liam Neeson with bad skin. No, we're not gonna have
his skull and crossbones belt buckle.
Can we talk about how he's got 7 fingers?
Yeah.
Desaad does too.
Or is it 8? Desaad does too. It's weird that like people aren't talking about that more, because I can't not like count every single time I see it, especially because like half of them are thumbs, which feels very to me like a like the opposable thumb is supposed to be like the thing that separates us from like other primates or other like intelligent species. And so they're like, oh yeah, Steppenwolf's got 4 of them.
I noticed it in the Amazon fight when he grabs one of the heads.
Yeah,
you can see it.
Yeah,
like it wraps around her head, and he just.
You know when I always notice it is when he's holding the mother box, because the mother box is so freaking huge.
Yeah.
But
it's nothing.
Right, he holds it like that because
like
it
Rubik's
also
Cube, Tim.
It always struck out to me with the previous model how, because he was so much smaller, I honestly looked at him like, how are you actually balancing that size of a cube in that hand? So then when we get this model where he is significantly larger, it's like, no, he got big hands. Like, no, I could believe he could like
also
hold the mother box.
The way I'm gonna take a quick tangent before I say this.
That's an oxymoron statement if I ever heard.
I like what's his name? It's not Matt Ryan. It's a guy. He's like an anthropologist or an economist, but he does this whole thing about it's this YouTube or a TED talk about I think it's called When Ideas Have Sex, but it's about the different ideas coming together to form new ideas and how that's like core to society progressing. And he talks about a computer. Okay, that's too much of a tangent. Computer mouse and an arrowhead from like a primitive tribe. And he said like they're the same size, like they're both designed to fit someone's hand, but they're done with different materials on different parts of the world, combined from different experiences, all in like. But we're like thousands of years apart. But like ultimately, the function of of both of these things are designed to fit a hand. And so without going further into that, I'll probably talk about that more on BVS or on Justice League by the Minute, if anyone eventually. But anyway, but that's what I think about when I see it in his hand is like, wow, he's a new god, and it's like the mother box is designed to fit in his palm. And it's like nobody, like who else carries it around in that way? It's like he's holding a smartphone almost, where it's like, oh, that's
the Rubik's Cube,
the right size and shape for him to wrap his hand around. It's not awkward for him at all. And so they talk about them as like these mystical things where like maybe they don't even know where they came from, but there's still, it's rooted in this like, oh, this seems to be something that he is like meant, it's designed for him to, he's the type of person that should interact with this. Whereas like humans don't have, hands to carry him like that. I thought that was interesting.
Have to use lassos and stuff. Ryan, your favorite scene?
Oh man, I had tons of time to think about it too.
Now all you can picture is his hand.
Yeah, right?
That part was
holding my hand.
I just get lost in Steven's beard when he talks. It's okay.
I'm always lost in my beard.
The easy answer is the Flash sequence, but
it really is.
I would probably say so I love the Themyscira sequence where Steppenwolf first drops in the boom tube, and this movie's awesome on a technical level just because I love how much Zach, whoever was shooting it, works the focus ring. Like the Amazons that basically like they had a mark on the floor that they had to hit. They sit back out of focus, and like the shot of the Amazon where her blade, the tip of her blade, like comes right into focus, like in the intensity behind it. And there's another shot where another one's drawing a bow. I think just that whole like Steppenwolf anticipatory thing, the Chris Terrio dialogue from Hippolyta, like it's just like chill inducing. I think that's probably one of the moments that kind of like jumps into my mind when I think about this movie. So I'll probably go with that.
Yeah, I knew that like that show them your fear, we have no fear. Whenever that was in the trailer, I was like, that's gonna be amazing in this movie. Because I already knew how it was gonna play out.
Yeah, when she's like kind of like she kind of smiles, like, really? Okay, show, and then she yells it out, and she kind of has this like smile on her face because she knows.
Daughters of the mascara.
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
Show him your feet. Yeah,
that's one of those things also that whenever I didn't even think about that aspect of having to hit their mark for the focus. Where whenever I think of new layers like that, and I think about Joss Whedon getting all this raw footage and being told like make a movie out of this, and I realized like I bet there's sequences in this where he got imagine the mother box scene where they've got they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cameras. One of them is doing like a spiral in on a crane. The other 4 are shot through beam splitters cycling around.
Yeah.
Like imagine getting all that raw footage and being like, here you go. And a scene from this, like and there's certain scenes that are
what
reshot.
Was he doing? Yeah.
There's scenes that are like reshot, and I wonder if like I almost wonder if like Zach took his storyboards with him when he left, like like good luck.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
Because yeah, there's scenes in this that are reshot, and the only reason I can think of, because it's like, okay, that was funny, that was bright, it was like all it checks all the boxes for what they wanted. Why did they cut it? And I'm like, oh, because Flash is doing a time travel thing there, and I bet they didn't know how to make it not look ridiculous because they were working with all this footage that Zach had, or something like that. It's the only thing that can make sense to me for some of these.
That's a good point. I never thought about that one specifically. Yeah.
And like the little detail, like even talking about the time travel stuff, and like when they did the mother box thing, I mean, in the theatrical, it was supposed to be like he's got to touch the mother box as it hits the liquid. But in this version, it was like, no, that wasn't the case. It was just you had to charge the mother box. But it was kind of like foreshadowing, showing that, hey, Flash can actually reverse time a little bit if he reaches the speed of light, which a lot of people were kind of questioning. And they're like, well, why was it kind of different? I'm like, well, they were kind of foreshadowing to the end where, yeah, Flash can actually reverse time if he does what he can do.
You mean, Dave, that they actually narratively set something up earlier in the movie so it could be paid off in the climax?
You mean foreshadowing, Scott?
I know.
And here's another layer.
There's no plot hole because the movie tells you that this is something that happens. So when it happens in the movie, it actually works.
Here's what's even crazier. Remember that movie Batman v Superman where the Flash comes through that portal and he's like, am I too soon? Well, that was time travel. And so now we get to this movie and now they're setting up time travel so that they can pay off time travel, so that they can pay off the setup from the previous movie.
But it can be better.
It's
what a concept.
It's like it's all part of the plan.
Just have some patience.
What's a plan? What's a plan?
Well, it's like I'm like a dog chasing a car. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught it.
That's very going back to being like they got the movie they wanted. Like this is what they've been trying to do for a decade. And yeah, they're a dog chasing cars, and they got it, and they're like, what do we cancel New Gods? That's what we'll do.
There's another drop for you, Dave. You gotta get Heath Ledger from The Dark Knight. We need that drop.
I know. I don't know why I don't have that already, but
because you're an idiot.
I know.
Yeah.
Total idiot. Jeez.
Jesus.
I know.
Well, but
idiot.
No, Steven, it's just because we live in a society. We live in a society where drops are a distant memory.
There goes our channel.
Did you buy that shirt today? Do we live in a society shirt? Scott, that was
no. I have not yet.
Yet.
Yeah, there it is. There's the qualifier.
I'm just saying that now that Dave pointed out the ones the DC shop and I'm looking at the ones the Hot Topic, I don't just willy-nilly. I have to ponder my purchase choices. I have to make sure I'm getting the right choices.
Well, I just want to know where the Joker shirts are.
Yeah. We know now.
Speaking of setup and payoff.
Oh man, this is a good way to end it right here.
Dave's just like, I'm done. I'm just done with these people. They're just roasting me.
I'm not done. I just like, my little brain fart earlier. I'm like, damn it. Yeah.
No, I love it.
I was sitting there like thinking, I'm like, why is there no Joker shirts in the fucking DC shop? And you're sitting there explaining it that, hey, there is a Hot Topic, and I just totally didn't process it. I'm like, okay, yeah.
I'm like looking at everybody else's the faces. Like, did I miss something here? Like,
No. Me. Totally me.
I like school. I like school.
Yeah, I'll take it. I don't know, trust me. I screw up a lot on this program. It's okay, guys.
But why male models?
But wow, man. Okay. I don't know if everybody got that. Anybody? Oh, yeah. Zoolander? Anybody? Okay. Yeah, I got that. But why male model?
Remember when the theatrical cut had a
yeah.
Remember when the theatrical cut had an Aquaman homage to Zoolander?
Yes, where he's like a fish.
Where he goes up to the camera and he's like, I'm convinced that was a Zoolander homage because it was literally the water is the wetness is the like. I never put it together.
Merman.
It's literally like the same shot and like the coloring and everything. It's so close, and it was a reshoot. The only explanation that I have for it is that they were making it that they were consciously riffing on Zoolander, which just shows you the level of respect for the characters that they would make a merman Zoolander joke about Aquaman.
Right.
Oh, it's so bad. Oh man. Zoolander 2, sequel, not so great. You know, I kind of worry about that. I mean, talking about like, if I'm going to go off on a tangent here, they're supposed to be doing an Ace Ventura 3. I don't know how anybody feels about that, and I'm kind of nervous about it.
None of these sequels ever work out. I mean, they all these like 20 years too late sequels.
Yes.
Like,
except for Blade Runner 2049.
That is true. You're correct about that.
That wasn't a comedy. That's the thing, though. It was
exactly.
It was somebody that was take the material seriously. But when it comes to comedies, I mean, as much as I love seeing Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber 2, you know, that movie was horrible.
That's the closest I've ever come to walking out of a movie in a theater.
Dude, it was so bad. So bad. I mean, the first movie was like, it was smart dumb. I mean, if that makes sense. It was like smart. The way that how stupid they were was like, you know, it was smart comedy. But when it came to the sequel, it was like, okay, you guys are not even, you know, this is just you just throwing anything you can. That's what I worry about with Ace Ventura. I'm like, as much as I love the character in the first two movies,
it's also like such a physical role, and he's just so old now. Like, I just feel like it's weird.
Still kind of do it. I mean, Sonic. When we saw him on Sonic, I thought he stole. You know, I thought he was a stealer. You know, I mean, that's what made that movie for me. When it came to Sonic, I was, you know, if it didn't have Jim Carrey, I probably would have been like, this movie sucks. But
yeah,
I wasn't like a fan of some of the other stuff. But you know.
They're just gonna go. They're just gonna recycle. They always just recycle the same jokes. You know, I mean, is him talking out of his butt gonna be funny in 2022 or whatever? You know, it's like I don't know. I mean, I have nostalgia for those movies, obviously, but
if they were smart, they would do. They'd make it. What do they call it? Ace, or would they just call it Ventura? Where it's the Logan version of. And he just plays him as like the worn down detective. It's like a noir.
Alrighty then.
We need
devil horn get up from
the desk drawer with a bottle of booze.
I'm getting too old for this shit version of Ace Ventura.
See, that would be good right there. That would.
He's already got that in Ace Ventura 2. He's got that devil. Like a Quincy Ocha, like his little like hair Wolverine get up. So I mean,
see, it's close. It's close. It's close.
Yeah,
Bumblebee tuna.
Yeah,
Bumblebee tuna.
Yeah, Bumblebee tuna.
Your balls are going.
Yes.
You're up.
Chicago.
Yeah. Chicago. All right.
Shish kebab.
Dude, this is how like crazy we were. I remember when we had when Shane and I first got our first cellular phones back in the day in 2000. I don't know why we thought it was a great idea, but this is how we made our voicemails. And Shane's voicemail, he would hold it up to the TV to have it record, and it was just oh righty then, and that's all it was, and it just kept repeating over and over. It was like a minute-long voicemail thing. No one ever left him voicemails. And it was just him going oh, and it was in this crappy stereo, like because it's coming out of a TV recorded onto a Nokia brick phone. Like that's what it was. It was the dumbest thing. I think I had the Happy Gilmore "You suck, you jackass," and that was like. And then I remember when I was trying to get a job and I got a call and it was like, it's like we want an interview, but you also should change your voicemail because that's pretty right. I'm like, that's a good point.
You know what I had as my voicemail? I had Will Ferrell from Wedding Crashers going, "What the fuck do you want?" That's what I had. Oh, my mom hated that. She's like, "You need to change that. What if somebody important needs to call you?" And I'm like, well, whatever.
Oh, by the way, that just reminds me that when I do watch you on the YouTube app on the Apple TV, and Heather's like in the kitchen, like doing grading papers and stuff, I just love what she goes. Dave sure does cuss a lot, and I'm like, his mom thinks so too. It's okay.
I get that every week. Every time I visit her, I'm like, she's like, "Oh, tone it down a little bit." It's like, What's it, Steven? What are you showing, Steven?
It's that's the image right there that I'm talking about. I can't find the actual frame where it shows that image, but yeah, that is like straight up out of Zoolander.
I can see it.
I see what you're saying. We should put a side by side. Yeah, because like he's selling like in the commercial, isn't he selling like cologne or perfume or something like that? And he's like
something, yeah.
I don't know. It's just the way that he's doing this little swimming thing, you know?
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Steven ejected himself.
Goodbye.
Oh no.
Get out of here.
Yeah. He removed his page and he moved himself. Oh man. No, but yeah. Yeah, but when it comes to the numbers, when it comes to restoring the Snyderverse, I mean, who knows what the hell they're doing? Like you said, I mean, maybe with Godzilla versus Kong coming out, I don't know if that's going to be a factor of it. Hey, there he is. You're back. Hey, good job.
Yeah, I hit the wrong. They shouldn't put those buttons right next to each other. Drunk people might press the wrong one.
Yeah, we figured as soon as like your page went, all of a sudden you went too. Oh,
there it is.
There it is.
Here's the one that I'm see. That is
yes.
Right, Joss Whedon was trying to make a Zoolander reference, right?
I what he was there.
There's no way so. It's not.
That's awesome.
It is the exact same body position. The head is being framed. I can't get them right side by side because of the way the screen sharing works.
Never gonna be able to get that out of my head.
Well, unfortunately, you don't have to watch that.
On Twitter. Oh, he did it again.
Hang on.
He did it again. I didn't do that. I swear.
Oh God! Someone tell Amanda. I want all kinds of shit all day tomorrow.
Now his mic doesn't work.
What? My mic works.
Oh, there it is.
You're good. You're good.
I said they shouldn't put those buttons right next to each other. If someone's drunk, they might press the wrong one.
You learn lessons like WB, man.
Oh,
man.
But WB doesn't learn their
they don't.
Oh,
very true. Very true.
Gotcha.
Right. Oh, there it is. But I think this is a good spot to end it. We're like 3 hours and 42 minutes into this thing right now. So, hey, why not? So let's go around the horn and let's go ahead and plug ourselves. And well, of course, our featured guests. And thank you guys, Ryan and Brandon, for coming on.
Man.
Thank you so much for having us. We enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, man. The door's always open for you guys. You know, like I'll send you a link if you want to join the panel for sure. So, Brandon, go ahead and promote yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you can find us at CapeCast Show on Twitter, at Cinemachine Pod as well. Ryan knows all the other social handles. This is Ryan's job when it comes to our show. I don't do this. He handles
I was really impressed with how you were handling it. I'm going to be honest with you. No, yeah, on Twitter at CapeCast Show, and then on YouTube, subscribe at Cinemachine. We review movies on there, and then obviously spend a inordinate amount of time talking about Zack Snyder and all of his goings on. So definitely invite you to check us out.
For sure. All right, Mr. Steven.
Yeah, I'm Stephen Colbert. You can find me on Twitter at smcolbert, and you can find my writing at screenrant.com. And you can also find my podcast with Andrew Dice at snyderminute.com. You can find our archive of Batman v Superman by the Minute episodes. We're taking a very short hiatus from that to focus on getting a few Justice League by the Minute episodes under our belt, which is the other one I was going to plug, which I just pre-plugged. Justice League by the Minute is our other show. And we as we speak, or earlier as we were speaking, Dice said he was editing we're doing like a track, like we're walking the track is what we're calling it. Kind of not doing a full-on analysis, but just kind of walking through each of the chapters to say, like, we're going to talk about this more. And then we'll get into the minute one in a week or two once we're done with those. So fun times.
Cool. Looking forward to it. All right, Matt. You got Matt.
Yeah, that carried over from yesterday. I am Matt with one half of the world famous Comic Movie Marks. Check us out on Comic Movie Marks on YouTube, those other social media thingies, Twitter. Yeah, that's the one. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. And that's why I keep having to rub my eyes here. God damn. Anyway, yeah. Make sure you check us out there. And hopefully we get Joker shirts pretty soon in the DC.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Shop, right? Or from Hot Topic. All right, Scott, bring us home.
Or of course, you can find me on Twitter, ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, the DC Film Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found. We're also on Vero, YouTube, Facebook, and you can find the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. I'd also like to plug a super secret collaboration that I will be involved in whenever I can make myself available for my super secret partner, who I feel very sorry about right now. Apologies.
Wait. What are you talking about?
It's a secret.
It's
a secret.
Okay, it's a secret. Okay.
Where are the Joker shirts?
I know. Are
secret to
Hot Topic and DC shop now, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Wait, they're on the DC shop?
I'm gonna fuck you up! Jeez.
Go on,
That's about
Steven.
right.
Huh?
What'd you say?
On both. Okay. All right. Hot Topic and DC Shop, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got it?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay. We're good. We're good.
But what about the Joker shirts?
Hashtag release the Joker shirts. Damn it.
Oh, man. Never going to hear that.
Trending by morning.
Yeah. Hopefully. I want that to be. Please. All right. Yes. And of course, I'm Dave, and you can find me, of course, hit that like, thumbs up button, hit that notification bell, all that stuff. And if you want to get Joker shirts, you can go on, Hot Topic. Hot Topic has Joker shirts, Jared Leto Joker shirts, as well as the DC shop, as we showed you. It's cool. Get that Truce Bruce shirt. It's probably the best one. Anyways, do all that, and if you want to follow, the Patreon, all the stuff, and then I even got shirts too, not Joker shirts. Well, kind of Joker shirts. You want to do that? It's also down below. But anyways, guys, we do all that, and I appreciate the panel. CapeCast guys, thank you for joining in, Brandon and Ryan. I appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
thanks everyone. We enjoyed it.
Guys, if you guys ever want to join and just
we'll be back, man.
sure. And thank you, Matt. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Steven. And then of course, thank you everybody who's joined us tonight and all the donations and all that stuff. We love you, and
Get the fuck out!
That's what it is. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.